Andy, tell me about your basketball career.
I played again yesterday, Joey. There were a bunch of middle schoolers out there, probably. Some of them younger.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little tiny kid who was hitting every shot. He was really, really good. It was
That's impressive.
It was funny to see because he was hitting 3-pointers and like the ball was about half the size he was, and he would heave it up there, and he would drain it every time. So those. It was one of the things where, like,
Did you school him?
There's 2 half courts, right? Mm-hmm. There's people playing on one side, and me and one dude shooting on the other. Mm-hmm. And then a bunch of kids showed up and then they like eventually started forming a game. And I was like, well, I'm gonna get pushed out of here. And luckily, one of the kids was like, hey, do you want to join our game? And I was like, hell yeah! Like, I need that workout.
Yeah.
Because like chasing somebody around compared to just playing is a totally different ball game. Good Lord.
I love it.
I'm gonna sit on the end.
Thank you, John Drake.
Hello everybody. Andrea Renee is here.
I'm gonna need a gif of you dancing at some point.
No, I want to do the peanut butter jelly dance. You ready?
No, I need to get my gif maker thing. Where's it?
Is there like does John Drake look at you and say like shake that potassium? Like it's hard to say. It's hard to say.
Boo.
Okay,
Bad
can you
joke.
do this way?
Yeah.
The lighting's kind of weird, but go
Do you
away.
want to switch spots? So I'm in the lighting.
Or if you just come over here, it might work.
Okay. Okay.
You ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly.
Oh, wow, you nailed it. Actually,
peanut
really
butter
good.
Jelly. It's peanut butter jelly time.
It's perfect.
Yep.
It's perfect.
I started singing it yesterday and John had no idea what it was.
Really? What?
You guys, John Drake did not know the peanut butter jelly banana
Wow.
internet famous.
I mean, I guess it's like, some people don't know the fucking Ally McBeal baby
That's
CG,
true.
Like, it's possible, right? That's to sort of pass some people by. But still really, really shocking. That's such an old callback.
It's a classic. We were talking about Andy's basketball career.
Sing the banana phone song. What's that?
Ring, 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 banana phone.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Isn't that from Bananas in Pajamas?
Oh.
Oh,
I know.
maybe.
Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly in a baseball bat.
pajamas. They're walking down the stairs. Bananas in pajamas. They're wearing underwear. I don't know if that's a lyric. But I just found a word that rhymed.
Enigmatic. The reason I'm wearing the banana suit is because I was raising money with Guardian Con and St. Jude's Children's research hospitals to help sick kids and their families so that they don't have to pay for their medical costs and housing while they're being treated. And during my 4-hour block of the Guardian Con stream, I decided to put an incentive inspired by one of the What's Good Guardians, Maria, for Banandria Renee.
It's
meaning
great.
I would wear a full banana suit on either KFGD, the Gamescast, or What's Good Games with each $1,500 donation that was given. So, of course, my husband, being the charitable and generous soul
the
that he
gifting
is.
soul, yes.
And also a troll.
And also a troll. Definitely.
That's
so that's
awesome.
why I'm wearing the banana suit. We'll explain that again once the show starts.
Maybe Mr. Yasman does bring up a good point of maybe Fran should also do his Old Town Road clip here, so we get the 1-2 punch of the Guardian Con stream
Yeah.
incentives.
Yeah.
Was that a 24-hour thing?
No, it was a multi-day thing.
Oh, okay.
But like each streamer had a 4-hour block.
Gotcha.
And so it was just like in 4-hour chunks, and it was assigned. It was over 7 days, I think, 6
Yeah,
days.
it was a lot.
$3.7 million raised.
Cuckoo.
Yeah, with obviously the lion's share coming from Dr. Lupo, who
Yeah.
was the anchor. So they smartly realized. Hi, Fran.
Fran,
Fantastic.
welcome.
Thanks. They
Am I in
smartly.
your spot?
No, I'm gonna make Greg sit in one of those seats
Don't worry
anyway,
about it.
because like
Okay.
Just wait till he
I have a
You
lot
would
of
like-
I have banana goodness that the world needs to see. What was I saying? Oh, Dr. Lupus. So they smartly decided to put him on the end of the
Yeah.
stream because he's the biggest fundraiser of all the streamers. So
You guys aren't live yet, right?
Yeah.
I just want to talk shit about Greg real quick.
okay.
Definitely not
Just
live.
wanna say, I just wanted
The week
to-
is up, you know.
That's it. That's all you wanted to say?
Also, am I really high right now, or is Andrea dressed like a banana?
What are you talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What was in the pizza you guys ate?
Oregano, I think.
Oregano.
You
Oh my
gonna get
gosh.
in on that pizza, friend?
Huh?
You gonna get in on that
No.
on that pizza?
No.
It's Steve Aoki.
Why are people telling me that Steve
Oh.
Aoki made the pizza? I don't understand.
It's
He has
his,
a pizza
it's his pizza
thing,
place.
A pizza chain now.
Oh, he has one in SF.
Yeah.
This
They're
is
all
what
over the
he's
place.
using his money.
Look at DJ Kanto says,
Well,
can we
he-
get
he-
Franana? Well, that's going to
I
be
know.
the next time.
I actually was thinking that when I walked in.
He
I
opened
didn't
them in
wanna steal.
LA. He opened a couple spots in LA, and now he opened like a I don't know if it's a
Franchise.
pop-up shop here or I don't know exactly what it is, but it's fucking good.
It is?
Like,
Okay.
it
Because I was
is-
going to say, I took a look at it and
fucking
I was
good.
like, I don't know.
No, it is
But I'm like,
delicious. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was worried because I
Yeah.
ordered it the other night. I was like, this is fucking great. I got to recommend it to the guys. And then Kevin ordered it. I was like, oh shit, now I'm under the gun. What if it's bad?
Yeah.
What if we get it this time and like it's
And we
lacking?
judge you on
no,
your-
Yeah,
man.
you know,
On
I
your
always hate
pizza?
that when you have something that you think you're pretty sure it was good,
Yeah.
but then you tell everybody, and then sort of on the way, and you're like, wait, was it that good? Because I've really talked
Now
it
I
up. And you get-
vouch for it.
Yeah, because
Dude
you know
where's-
how all
dude
our
where's
friends
my
are.
car?
They're horrible to us. They'll tear you down at just a moment's notice.
What if the E3 ban was a KFAF bit? Yeah, Nick's already addressed this. Like, we're not that creative.
Yeah, what is the Banana Phone song? I do know it, but
Let's
Chat
look
was
it
saying
up.
it was Raffi, which I do now remember.
Raffi was kind of like
It is
he had his
Raffi.
own little empire, right?
I saw Raffi live
Banana
multiple
phone.
times.
I
I was
Really?
a big
It is.
Raffi
It's
fan
on the-
as a kid. Raffi and Linda Arnold. She had a song about dinosaurs that played baseball.
that was it.
like this.
Wait, that's
No, we're gonna get claimed. It's gonna be like Mr. Bucket.
Oh, we're
Wait,
gonna
is
get
it-
claimed. Yeah.
the pre-show go up on there?
We leave this up, yeah.
Banana phone.
No. But if we get
I've got
strikes
this
from it.
feeling
Causes trouble.
Raffi, don't fuck us on this.
Banana doesn't care.
for us to get
Banana don't
together
care.
and sing.
Oh, you leave the pre-show up as like an unlisted.
Yeah.
Banana phone.
Yeah, but
Well,
Nailed
it's too
it.
late. The claim has already happened.
And I like that you are on brand and you actually have
Wow.
a banana.
Oh, yes. I thought it would be like Bananaception if I ate a banana while dressed as a banana.
The
cannibalism.
next thing you need to do
I
is you
think
need
you
to
should use
play.
it as a phone.
You do this while you
Hello,
play
this is
Fortnite
Andrea.
in the
Hey,
Peely
that is
skin.
awesome. That looks good.
So you get 3 levels. You play
Okay.
Fortnite
We'll
in the
use your
Peely
phone.
skin.
Hello?
How can
Yes.
you get claimed on a
No,
private
she's still
video?
dressed as a banana.
Well, it's unlisted.
She looks fantastic,
It's
though.
an unlisted video, and
Not
that
claim,
doesn't-
sorry, a strike is
Strike,
what I
yeah.
meant.
Ring.
You can still get strike because, like, technically, you could put up fucking
That's how we-
copyrighted.
This is how we
movies.
test
If it-
stuff all the time is we upload clips for like stuff like prom to see what is going to get blocked and stuff like that.
Or
And we do
sometimes
it all
I just put up
unlisted.
episodes of Party Mode with a clip of Breaking Bad in it, and hope that it just is fine.
Yeah. I
Journey
mean, at least you
songs,
can reach out to
know.
AMC if there's a problem. Yeah, copyright strikes are the devil.
Is there a part in the upcoming episode of Mario Party Mode where Nick keeps just falling into luck, and then I cut to Jesse going, "He can't keep getting away with it." That's good. I like that.
But like also you don't have to watch the next 2 episodes of Party Mode. That'd be like pretty great if you just didn't do that.
Just skip them. Pretend they
skip
don't
'em.
exist.
You guys don't care about Party Mode.
My favorite part is like the moment where he's like, "Joey, I'm sorry, but it's coming." Like Nick just letting you know that your doom is inevitable.
It's the worst.
It's so fucking
It's the
annoying.
worst. Why do I let you guys
my
talk me
chair's
into
hot.
this?
I don't know.
I'm dumb. I realize that this is a me problem. Fran, when are we gonna get a full Old Town Road cover from you?
A full cover? I
full
don't know.
cover.
That's asking a lot.
Do we need
That
to
was just
throw
for charity.
another prom?
Do we? Yeah.
Yeah, is it for
Somebody
charity?
needs to get married, and it's prom,
So you're
and it's for
telling
charity.
me
yeah.
Extra Life. We could
Yeah,
maybe,
maybe for
talk
Extra
you into
Life,
it.
yes.
But
I
will
mean,
Old Town Road still
Actually,
have
I
the same
would
power?
because it's actually a pretty easy song. So
Can we
out
get
of-
a
I wouldn't
duet?
do many things. Yeah.
Could you
yeah,
and Andy
if
play
Andy gets
together?
in on it,
I mean,
that'd
dude,
be
I
dope.
would love to just sit on a kit and. Dude, I really want to. I want to buy an electronic drum set.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Let's get a full family band going, you know?
Can you play drums, Andy?
Yeah,
Nice. I've always wanted to give it a shot, but
it was my first instrument.
oh,
It was my first thing where.
That's awesome.
But my family didn't really want to buy a drum set in a small house.
Nobody does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
and-
electronic
Yeah,
ones still.
but
make a
you
lot
know,
of noise.
growing up listening to Rush, it was always
Get a
me.
drink. Hold on.
You know how Neil Peart and Rush had like the drum set that was surrounding him?
Yes.
So I would always set up like pots and pans and cereal boxes around myself, and I'd spin around and shit.
Brilliant. Wait, am I moving or staying?
Andrea said she wants to be on the end.
I don't know what the lower third might have to change then. That's the problem.
Oh, if
I mean,
yeah,
they
so then let me move.
gotta create a new lower third anyway because you're on the
Oh,
show.
cool.
And
You go in.
Still make it.
I take
Okay, I can move here.
When Tim's not here.
Oh, you're right. You're
Are
right.
does it matter if I'm here, Barrett, or what?
I'm gonna say no.
Because I can go to. Well, if you're redoing, meaning if it's easier for me to just move to my normal seat, that's fine.
Well, we're gonna have to.
I mean,
recreate it
Greg's
anyway.
on the left.
Just don't
Andy's
mislabel me.
Andy's here.
Make
It
sure
doesn't
it's
fucking
got a
matter.
Roman numeral 3 in it. That was a close one, Greg.
Oh, Greg.
Man, Greg, the hair's looking good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Got a good haircut. Got a good haircut. Pretty
Yeah,
proud
it
of
is a good. You got a little fade up front. It's got little touches. Where'd you get it done?
Renegades.
Not the same.
Sunset Barbershop. Over in the
Barbershop.
Sunset.
Okay.
Next to like Social and.
As long as Tim doesn't got you going to one of his like Floby shops.
He goes at Supercuts. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've done
what
a
he does.
Supercut before.
Floby. What the hell does that mean?
A Floby.
A Floby
Remember
is a
Floby?
vacuum. No, it was right before their generation. You vacuum.
So back in our
your
day.
mom. Yeah.
Back in our day. Andy
Oh, I
Cortez.
thought Floby was kind of like saying like a
It's a sexual
bougie
term.
or something like
Do you know
that.
what it is though?
No.
So what it was is it was an
Tim's all Floby.
attachment for your vacuum cleaner that you would put on, and your vacuum cleaner would suck.
It's like infomercial.
Maybe it
type
was
stuff.
maybe it was his own machine, but it basically was a vacuum
No,
cleaner.
I think
that
it
then
had both.
Like
it
a
had
modulated
the
add-on.
blades on it, and so you'd go to your kids and go, and it
Yeah,
would
you
suck
vacuum
their
their hair,
up and then cut it
Cut it
whatever-
evenly.
whatever
It was
length
kind of
they
like
wanted.
somewhat ingenious, but also like the cheapest
Terrifying.
haircut you could get.
It's also I mean, don't the
It's like a bowl cut,
some
practically.
sort of recent razors promote that where the electricity makes your facial hair.
Oh, really? Like pop out?
Yeah, it's
So
not. It's not electricity, but it's
more
like
even? Static.
Yeah, it like
It's static, yeah,
causes it
probably.
to stand up. Yeah.
Trying to decide
Interesting.
if I should ask Cool Greg to bring me back wine or not.
Yeah, that you
No.
should. Yeah.
Joey,
It'll
what
make
should we
you.
get?
It'll make you crazy and tired. I've done this before. No more drinks on the show.
Jeez, Fran.
Yeah. Unless it's a live show.
Big old buzzkill Fran coming in. You know?
Yo,
Or
we got
rosé?
we got
Literally,
wine.
buzzkill.
Pretty
No?
much anything that's not
DC's?
Chardonnay, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Bring, 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 bring.
Rosé?
bring, bring, banana phone.
Yeah. I got cash if you need cash. Or just make Nick pay for it.
It's the wine that's like pink.
The lightest color pink. I'll show you an example. I'll send it. Do I have your I don't know if I have your number, Cool Greg. Don't say it out loud. We're streaming.
Yeah.
Don't dox yourself. How about this? I'll send a photo to Joey and Joey will send it to you. Okay.
Correct.
Bam.
Cool, Greg. You feel like drinking tonight?
What else is happening in chat here?
I love how Fran tried to talk me out of it.
What, the wine?
Yeah.
I didn't try to talk you out of it. I wasn't actively trying. It was more of my own like inner monologue coming out. Like I drank on the show and that I felt like it made me tired halfway through it, and then everybody complained that I was talking over people, which is like generally a problem anyway. I try to keep a handle on it, but the
You
booze
feel like
makes
it's
it worse.
exacerbated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because you start talking like you're in a bar with people.
Yeah.
Just yelling louder over each other.
That's how I felt on Kind of Funny podcast earlier this week.
Right? Were you
Like
drinking?
halfway through. Yeah.
See?
Drinking, for me, just makes me better.
It's
Just like dancing, fighting, driving, flying.
yeah.
Whoa.
Driving.
There's like you could either take it two ways of like the drinking makes flying and driving better, or that like flying and driving makes you better. Drinking makes me better, just like when I fly, I'm better.
Yeah, I wonder if I do Old Town Road drunk. That might be a good one.
Yeah.
Could be really bad or really good.
Here, I have it for you if you want to see.
I had a funny moment with John Reisinger, who runs.
If they have that
graphic
particular
design
brand, but anything that looks
at
like
RT.
that.
One of my former roommates was like, "Hey, does John Reisinger still like? If I applied to be junior
like $7 to
graphic
$10
designer,
bucks.
would I be working underneath him at RT?" And I was like, "I'm not really sure what the structure is anymore. Let me DM him." So I was like, "Hey, dude, do you still do whatever?" He's like, "Nah, not anymore." I was like, "All right, well, my buddy of mine like trying to apply. Give a shit his look. He's really talented or whatever." And then he replied back,
Joey,
"We'll
can you
pass
push-
on your
can you
recommendation.
push me in,
Thanks."
Joey?
Yeah.
And so semantics issue, I read that as he was just kind of fucking with me and being like, "Hey, I'll pass on that." Like,
How did you think
thanks
that was
though.
semantics?
Well, no. Like, I read it as like, "I'll
Perfect.
pass on that. Thanks though, Andy." Like, I'm not gonna.
I'll pass that on.
Yeah,
you read it as
yeah, and so I thought he was kind of fucking with me, just being
Right.
like, I'm not gonna look at that shit. Thanks though.
Right.
But, and then he was like, no. Like, I will pass that on to the people that need to see it.
he was saying that.
Yeah.
And you thought he was. It's funny. You had me all twisted.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Fuck me up, yeah.
Because like
Words,
that's a
bro.
normal, short, frank, email response that you'll get. Well, I'll pass on that, but thanks.
Yeah.
But he said I'll pass that on.
No,
thanks.
it wasn't even that. It was just, we'll pass on your recommendation. Thanks.
Oh, and you read it. We'll pass on that.
Like,
I gotcha. Yeah, I can see that.
No. I read it the bad way.
No, I understand. Yeah, it's because of
You
the way
guys
you
are
wrote
literally
it.
talking in a circle.
circles, it's driving me
talking
insane.
in a circle.
Because of the way that it's written. Because
Yeah.
he didn't say I will pass on that.
Get it?
You could have the I in there.
So you didn't get this guy higher.
I don't know. We'll see.
By the way, Chance Carter's asking about getting back into Destiny, and the short answer is if you can wait, just wait until September with Shadowkeep, because otherwise it's a grind, man.
Or don't wait and have a lot of fun grinding with your buddies. Don't listen to Fran. If you want to get back in, jump in there.
Okay.
Get
I'm
in
not,
there, dude.
I'm not condemning you from doing it. I'm trying to save you the time because there's a bunch of other awesome games. But if, you're really thirsty about it, then sure. The only tip is hop in, play all the story content, and then you're good. Just start grinding.
Dude, Apex
You
season
got to do the story
2, dog.
content, though. That's the
Can't
problem.
wait for Apex season 2.
Right?
Can't
So
wait for
what's
that
did they
ranked.
reveal more about what's going on with is there gameplay yet of like what happened to, what is it, King's Landing? Or-
Yeah,
It's
King's
like a
Canyon.
dragon and...
Well, no, it's not even a dragon. It's a the flying things will pick up loot and drop them, and you can shoot them down or whatever. Like the small dragons. The big thing is the actual behemoth in
You're
the
right.
water.
Those are the things that came
and
from
that
the water.
has moved to a certain part of King's Canyon where you can get stepped on if you're not careful.
Oh, and actually, like in the middle of the match,
yeah.
it'll be like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
That's
I don't
cool.
think it's actively moving through the match. I think it's just standing there, and every once in a while we'll kind of set its feet down or whatever.
That's
if you're
cool,
not
though.
careful. But
You get, like, in a
they
fight
changed
under the
they
shadow.
changed a couple of areas, and I'm like, here's the weird thing about me is like whenever I play Apex, I never look at the map. I'm so bad at the names of where the drops are.
Yeah,
because I'm always streaming, and the people that I play with
I do the
just
same
pick
thing. I
their
have the same
spot,
problem.
And every time they're always like, "Oh, we got people at runoff." I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck
Yeah.
runoff is.
What?
You know, I don't
Yeah.
look at the map enough.
Yep.
I'm really bad with names. It's
Yeah,
not like
it's-
Halo 2 when you knew all the like
Right.
Red Room, level 2, 3, whatever the
But
fuck.
see, you probably like it's the streaming part that gets you. I have the same problem.
Yeah.
Like I don't
I
know
have
what
really bad
It's
ADD.
like I've never played Destiny before, and I've been playing for almost 5 years. Like people are like, "Yo, what do you think of this whatever adventure?" I'm like, "What? I don't know what the name of that
Yeah.
thing is." Like when that stuff's coming up, I'm reading chat.
I'm the
It
same way
creates
with-
a problem though.
I'm the same with song titles.
Yeah,
I don't
same
know
problem.
a lot of song titles because I
I just
I
have a
listen to the
playlist.
music.
Same thing. Half the time, I don't know who I'm listening to because I'll do like radio on Spotify, and I'm like, if I like it, I'll stop and put it on my playlist. But sometimes it passes me by.
God, this water's
and-
delicious. It's perfectly
delicious water. Perfectly
balancing against that
Perfectly
very,
dark.
very fatty
Greasy
pizza.
cheese.
Yeah.
Water, huh?
I ate one more.
Water's great.
I ate one extra
Underrated.
slice too much, Andrea. I'll say that.
I had an egg witch for lunch. An egg witch. It's like the Jimmy Dean instead of the biscuit
Oh, yeah,
bread
you
and
keep
stuff. It's all
talking to me
eggs.
about
They're
this.
really good. They're like 20 grams of fat, but like whatever. It's no carbs.
Well, if you're on that keto life, the fat doesn't matter.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not really on the keto life, but lower carb and like honestly, fat's not that bad for you if
It's
you're
not.
having like tons of it.
It's true.
Like cholesterol's bad.
Well,
for
as long
you.
as it's not saturated fats.
Yeah, or a lot of it. I'd say sure, it'd be great not to get any, but I just think people worry about it too much.
Well, fat's good for you. You need some fat in your
Yeah.
diet.
Those damn satches.
But anyway, egg witches are awesome. Nobody here has tried them.
Jimmy Dean egg witch?
Yes,
Like the one you put in the microwave?
yes.
Not recently, but I mean years and years ago.
No.
Is it
There's
just
no
egg, though?
bread.
No
It's
bread?
the egg is the sandwich.
So it's
This is a Nick Scarpino
Yeah,
special
so it-
waiting to happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
true.
Nick must have.
He's got me
tried
started on
these.
those egg bites from Starbucks. Big fan.
Oh, I
of those.
love those. The
It's
sous
just
vide
the
egg white
frittatas.
bites.
They have those as well. They'll do, but it's like literally egg, and then they'll put in like ham and chives in just the patty of the eggs. So it's two of them, and then in the middle you still get like some sausage. It's the real deal right there. It's
I
really
remember
good.
when
And
I-
it's easy to eat. That's
I
the
used
point.
to babysit my cousins in Austin, and every morning they wanted those fucking little Jimmy Dean things.
Yes, I used to eat them every day before school. Man.
I have
Every
that
day.
visceral like smell stuck in my brain.
Wait, you
where
don't like it?
I don't like
I
sausage
just remember
that much.
how it like smells.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
When it gets all burnt, the cheese starts burning in the microwave.
Yeah, it melts into the paper
melts
towel.
into the paper towel.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the
Man, we
same
had
thing.
such the same Illinois upbringing.
Dude, I used to like jet out the door to school. You know, I'd be throwing it in the microwave, like packing my books in my bag, and it'd be finishing. I'd run out into like 0-degree weather with like a freaking Jimmy Dean. It was amazing.
See, we were a Pop-Tarts and Eggos family.
Yeah.
No toaster strudel?
We had
Yeah, no.
toaster strudel.
No,
I was all
didn't.
about.
I didn't like the fruit filling when I was a kid. As an adult, I do, but I much
Because
prefer
now you're a
the.
woman of taste. Banana woman.
Wait, so is his name James Dean?
Jimmy
Dean.
But is his
like-
full
James
name
Dean, the
James
actor.
Dean?
Well, oh, I see what you're saying.
This
You know
was
what I mean?
James Dean's like side projects, but he changed his name just a little bit.
It's like a
So-
ghostwriter.
It's
He
a
wanted to
side
be
project.
taken more seriously, clearly.
It's like
a good point. His name
J.K.
probably is
Rowling
James
making
Dean.
that romance novel. She like
She
put
had
it
a
under
pen
she
name?
put it under
Sure.
pseudonym.
Yeah.
You remember that?
No.
What?
she- yeah,
Really?
she
Barrett
did,
knows what I'm talking about.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
forgot what you were talking about, but I don't remember now.
Before we start the show, breaking news.
Oh, yeah?
I've been reinstated for E3.
Oh,
The
nice.
national nightmare
I
is
didn't
over,
even-
everybody.
So
There was basically a shrug as to how it happened, but there I'm back, so don't
Nice.
worry, everybody.
So I should stop the printing of the free Greg Miller shirts?
I was
Yes.
wondering. So you just got that email this morning,
Out of the blue, getting.
And
I
you
was like,
didn't-
oh man, a lot of shows are
Right.
playing today. Hope nothing crazy happens.
and so you didn't try to just contact them first.
Oh, of course I did. But then,
in the morning though. But I mean, you did like a full episode of them like banning.
where I wore a suit and said I was a video game lawyer. Clearly, I was joking. It was going to be
I didn't
overturned.
see this. You did that.
Yeah.
no, it wasn't
Oh, I
just a
love it.
full suit, Fran. It was a Super Mario Brothers suit. That was the most
I
loud
saw
suit
the-
I've
the
ever
Clearly
seen.
a video
And
gamer.
Oppo Suits does a lot of loud suits, but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
one
Took
really
the cake.
takes the
All right,
cake.
I have to
yeah.
watch this.
You
That's
do.
amazing.
If you want to be dismissed from the show right now, you can go do it.
Just go
Barry,
watch
you ready?
it.
Yes.
Gentleman and lady, you ready?
Yes, Joey, let me know when the wine arrives.
Joey will be here toot sweet with the wine. Don't worry about that.
And the beer.
And the beer. Shit, I hate it when I start drinking coffee and then there's a beer coming around the corner. That's trouble.
Yeah, dude.
You got to get a coffee
There's a
beer.
reason I have cancer. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Kind of Funny Gamescast, episode 227. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the Hispanic heartthrob, Andy Cortez.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are we doing?
Andy, where can people keep up with you on Twitch?
Twitch.tv/ Gary Whitta.
Next to him,
Gary,
the best
man.
hair in the business, Fran Mirabella III. Fran, where can people keep up with you on Twitch?
Same thing. / Gary Whitta. He's taking over, man.
He
also,
is, yeah. Well, he's got a t-shirt press at home. That's pretty easy.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
dude, he totally. I watched that. He's like showed me up in terms of promotion. So why even bother now?
Yeah.
That's true.
But,
Yeah,
no,
we'll all be
you-
working for him soon enough.
That's right. Exactly. I am at FM3_ on Twitch if you want to support me.
And rounding out the quartet, the busiest lady in the business who's dressed like a
Busiest
banana. Andrea Renee.
That's right. It's Banandria Renee today, Greg.
Andrea, you're of course from What's Good Games.
That's
People
correct.
can find you across the internet working on that.
Yes.
But why are you dressed like a banana today?
Yeah.
So, and let me stand up so everyone can see the full
Part
banana
of your
suit.
character be that you only speak in rhyme.
Yeah. You got.
Oh, she's doing the peanut
Oh,
butter
you're
jelly
doing
dance.
it?
Very nice.
Peanut
very nice.
butter jelly
Nailed it.
dance. Peanut butter jelly.
Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly. Peanut butter jelly in a baseball bat.
So the reason I'm dressed as a banana, as Banandria Renee today, I also brought my friend Pedro with. So is because I was streaming recently as part of the Guardian Con St. Jude's charity, which Fran and the DCP crew also streamed. And one of my incentive bonuses was if somebody donated $1,500, I would dress in full banana and do the entire show for either Games Daily, Gamescast, or What's Good Games in the banana suit. So one John Drake donated $1,500 to help the sick kids at St. Jude's Research Hospital benefits, and it was very generous and kind of him to do so. And so he selected the Gamescast as the episode that he
Love
wanted me
it.
to wear
Thank
a
you,
full
John.
banana
Love the
suit in.
Drake.
So
Thank you, John.
Love the
I'm
Drake.
in full banana suit. Banandria Renee is here.
Fantastic.
Very, very proud
I love
of
it.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks. It's just all for the kids, you know.
That's
Those
why you
big,
got to
beautiful
watch the
kids.
show this week. So if you're just listening,
There you go. Now
Head
we have
over.
a reason to come on over to watch. You know what I
right.
mean? That's the thing. We
This
know
is the time
We know
to
there's
see
more
what you're
audio
missing.
listeners. Come on over. Look
Come
at
on
this.
over.
Greg,
Yeah,
you ever seen a kid? They're great. Nick Scarpino.
Is that a quote from Nick?
Yeah.
You
Big
ever
Beautiful Kids is
You ever seen
Kevin,
Kid?
right?
They're great. No, that was Nick
too?
as well. Yeah.
Big Beautiful Kids. God damn these people.
I wish
the
there was a
big,
Nick
beautiful
in this
kids.
though.
Yeah, it's got to
It's
be
like-
very uncomfortable.
It's got to be hot, too. It's hot in
Yeah,
this
it's
room.
pretty hot. I'm wearing a dress underneath, so lest you think that I'm nude
It
under
looks
this.
like it just
it's not the
retains
case.
heat like crazy.
Yeah,
But it's
That was a
basically just
$5,000 donation.
yeah, it's basically just like a foam shell.
Sure.
Yeah.
And when you're standing, it doesn't feel bad on your neck, but when you're sitting, it's just like cutting straight.
Yeah, you're going to be very
Straight.
uncomfortable.
I mean,
for
like the
show.
joke's
for
been
the
made,
kids.
right? Like you could probably just wear the hat the rest of the show if you wanted to.
I don't know about
What
that.
if
It's for
shit.
the kids, dude. It's for the
I don't
kids.
think John's going to take his donation back.
Yeah, Andrea, why don't
Yeah,
you
right.
just peel that off? And,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Kind of Funny Games cast. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 3 best friends gather on this table, each coming to talk about the video games they love and appreciate and what's going on, the topics of the show, and everything you support over at patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Because over there, you can give us topics, you can give us questions, you can be part of the show, you can get the show early, like we are streaming it right now live. You can get it ad-free on Fridays. You can get it all early, great, perfect on Patreon. But if you have no bucks to toss our way, no big deal. You can go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe. Each and every Monday, and get the Gamescast there absolutely free with ads. No pre or post show like we're doing here. You would have had a whole riveting conversation about egg sandwiches.
yeah. There was other stuff. There was wine
That's all I was
during
paying attention
My
to.
basketball
drinking.
career
We
before
talked
you
about
guys got
drinking
home. Oh, wow, yeah.
during shows. You had a basketball?
Yeah,
We
there's
talked about the
alcohol.
banana song,
There's alcohol.
Andy was
the banana phone song.
Old Town Road. Lots of
Yeah,
stuff
okay.
happened.
Well, let's start this show with housekeeping. Right now, there's a brand new party mode up. It is Apex Legends, and I'm pretty sure Andy hates it because everybody he plays with sucks. Because I wasn't here. Is that right?
You're the
Flapjack
you're the
wasn't
ringer?
here.
Flapjack wasn't there. Cheeto Fingers and Milk Mommy were there, and it was there was a legitimate moment where Kevin's asking me for a lot of things, and he's like, "Did you ping it?" I was like, "Yeah, I pinged it. I don't see the ping any," and I just went, "Son of a bitch!" and I was like, "Oh," and he was like, "What?" I was like, "Just look around for Kevin." Like
The other thing I
look
heard
for
is
a
that he
second.
took his machine gun and went at another enemy and somehow shot all the way around the enemy without ever hitting them.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
The final
like a
the final
silhouette.
match, we got second place.
Oh wow.
I had 2 kills with like 300 damage or something. Nick had like 140 damage, no kills. Kevin, 0 kills, 0 damage.
Wow.
Really impressive. Really impressive.
If you want to see some esports level Apex Legends, go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. Subscribe, pick up party mode there.
1 second. I forgot that I told the nanobiologist that I would say, look into the camera and say, I'm a
Can
banana.
we give her? How close is the 1 on her?
It's
Not even worth it.
It's decent.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Man, that shot looks
now
so
I'm
Here we
much
go.
more colorful.
Yeah, this is very vibrant.
I'm a banana. Or maybe another one. I'm a banana. There you go. You get 2
Is
reads.
this a reference?
No, she's just
No.
promised.
Oh, okay.
He wrote into the
You were wrong, right?
You're
Oh,
wrong,
cool,
and asked
okay.
if I would do that, and so there you go.
Thank you, Nana.
Do you have to say anything to anybody?
My
Do you know
mom, what's up?
Um,
see you soon.
Hold on, do it on the one.
I'll see you in Texas in a couple weeks, Mom.
No, say
Miss you.
hi to your mom. Say hi, like start it like fresh, you know. One
Hey,
clean
Mom.
cut. No, don't do it while I'm talking.
Hey, Mom. Miss you so much. Miss you, Dad, as well. I'll see you guys at RTX. Texas forever.
Nice.
Texas forever. This is what you say to your family.
Fran, do you have any messages to leave?
That's our sign off.
Good man.
All right, cool. Thank you, our Patreon producers, Daniel Massey and James Hastings. Today, we're brought to you by Zebit and Upstart, but we'll tell you about that later. Right now, we're going to start the show with, of course, what is and forever will be what you've been playing. By the way, Tim's just out of it. He's got stuff to do, so he's out. He couldn't do it today. He's very sorry. It was a last minute thing. He loves you all very much. He tells you every show, and I think he says it in a creepy way every time.
Yeah.
Until next time, I love you. It's a weird way to end
I
a
thought
video
it was a
game
weird way
show.
too, but I just never said anything.
Just let him do his
He gets
thing.
real close to the mic and
And the funny thing is like he doesn't say he loves you to Gia. He doesn't hug Gia.
He
You know
doesn't
what
say
I mean?
I love you when I say I love you on the phone.
Yeah.
Bear,
You're big on that too. Though. I'll say I love you and you just walk out of the room.
Really?
Yeah, you hate me.
I think about it.
Oh, okay. Andy.
Yeah, what's up?
Fran. You guys have been playing Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night. Fran, tell me, what are your thoughts here on this Bloodstained?
So I've only played it for, call it a hot minute, it's over an hour, something like that. Got all the way through the first big boss, which from what I can tell is just scraping the surface, because I have seen a lot of gameplay. My brother plays it. It's just over on the left side of my living room.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'm seeing like tons of gameplay. But as many of you probably know, it's from Igarashi, right? This was a Kickstarter project originally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it took a while. It
Long
got
time.
delayed, but
Yeah.
man, it's really come through. This was the original creator of like what Symphony of the Night,
Castlevania
and
Symphony of the Night is what he's super
2
famous
even,
for.
and
Yeah.
So one of the mainstays of Castlevania. So long story short, that's what you can expect. It's a Metroidvania. It's really cool. It is very classic, though, I'll say. So you definitely got to be looking for Metroidvania, pulling up your map, going to areas that you haven't explored yet, and from the mechanics side of things, I guess I didn't know what to expect there, and so Andy, you can hop in and tell me what's beyond this, but I hopped in, right, and they just kind of have like your kicking.
Sure.
And then that's where you start, because very often in Metroidvania-style games, you start with very little. So that made sense, but then you just start opening up a lot of chests, and I noticed you're getting like lots of stuff to wear, which increases your defense, and then you're getting like a knife, or you're getting a whip, or you're getting a gun even, and you're getting like a lot of weapons. So I don't know how far this goes, but I noticed that was, to me, the biggest surprise in the mechanics. I didn't play, there was the original Bloodstained before this, right? Or was there one before this?
No, before this.
What was the thing before this then?
Exactly. Before this, Inti
Something on the
Creates.
moon?
Inti Creates put out a 8-bit, like, hey, here's this other,
That's right, it
version
was
of
8-bit. Or
Not
what?
version of it, but it was in the Bloodstained universe. They're like, we're going to do this in the meantime.
Gotcha. So yeah, anyway, going in, I didn't know what to expect was the point, but it seems like you just pick up a lot of chests, equip a different loadout as, your play style. So I really like it. It's all 2D. The style is super vibrant. Another thing that surprised me, I actually don't love the style. I like the characters and stuff. It's very like anime, but it's also just a very like separated, super vibrant Unreal Engine kind of world. So it doesn't look bad or anything. I just thought it was going to be a little more like creepy and more, I don't know, call it stylistic.
Andy, you've played a lot more, right?
Yeah, I'm a little over 13 hours in.
Oh, wow.
I think the map
Holy
completion, I'm
moly.
like at 65% map completion or something
Wow.
like that. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't think it's a game without fault. I think that like a lot of the maneuvering, it relies on a lot of sort of nostalgic game design. Things that I feel like we've evolved past, but
Sure.
it still sort of harkens back to like, I feel like nowadays we should have a forward and a back dash on the same button.
Right.
It's just directional. But in this case, you have a back step and then you have a slide forward, and they are both two separate buttons. Where
You'd rather it be like a dodge button and you're putting the control on
yeah,
or
and
direction on
I'm
it.
going that way or whatever. But it's really frustrating to be running towards an enemy, and you might accidentally face the other way, and then you backstep towards the enemy instead of like away from the attack. It's just
Yeah,
kind of,
even the slide.
it's kind of frustrating. Yeah, the slide is like such an afterthought to me. I don't even. Most times I forget I even have the damn slide. And those are like some of my main issues with it.
Yeah, it's got like 90s controls. It is a good way
But
to
now
put
is
it.
that by design though,
Yeah.
right? Like that was Iga's whole thing. Remember when he launched the
Literally.
Kickstarter was the idea that publishers have told me nobody wants this kind of game anymore, and I'm going to prove them different.
No,
Prove
and
them
I
wrong.
think that's precisely it. It is for the fans of that Metroidvania
Yeah.
style from the 90s with all of his touches,
Yeah,
Not that you're wrong
I still
about
think
it.
it could be
It's-
modernized though.
Yeah,
is what
but
I'm
like,
saying.
why not
Yeah.
have the style of the Metroidvania plus like the art style that
Yeah.
embodies or is inspired by the original, but with updated control schemes to accommodate for new inputs that you can get in modern controllers? It just doesn't make sense to me that you would input that just to like keep the legacy alive when it very clearly there's been so much more innovation in inputs over the last
I hear you, but I think there's
10
also
years.
the
Changes the
argument to be
gameplay.
that I'm Iga, I'm Greg Miller. Like I'm if I'm Greg and I do a podcast a certain way, right? Now, granted, I'm not that guy, but like I do have. I mean, whatever.
Not at all.
We invented Podcast Beyond, right? I just keep ripping it off and doing it as different shows, right? Like you know what you're getting out of a Greg Miller podcast in the same way you know what you're getting out of an Iga game. It's similar how like Mega Man 11, right? No Inafune, so there's rewind ability. Or no, that was the collection, wasn't it? Was it? I don't forget.
I don't
if that
remember.
Was in 11. But
But I know where you're going with
I
it.
know where you're going. I still just disagree.
I-
I think you can have the content and the creative embodiment of what it was as a classic retro title, without necessarily needing to say the inputs, the physical buttons you press with the controller are also retro.
But it fundamentally changes the gameplay style. I actually agree with Greg's sentiment, which is we would have to ask Igarashi like if that was the goal, but meaning it is not like a high animation, fast action, tons of, it's very much 90s style.
It's about as slow as like a Castlevania game is. I don't have a whole lot of experience with Castlevania games, but I just like it's not the super fast, precise platform or anything like that. The now you can remap buttons and things like that, which is kind of neat. I believe that back step was originally on L1 on PS4, and I mapped it to circle just because I feel like more comfortable with that. But anyway, I don't want to focus too much on that. I think
it sounds like the controls pull you out occasionally.
A little bit. Oh shit! I ran into an area last night where you are underwater. This game has like 100 demons, I believe.
You said this on Kind of Funny Games Daily, and it was
wrong
corrected.
me?
I wanted to say it was actually like 160. Maybe.
Okay, there's a fuckload of demons, and each one of these demons, if you kill them, there are chances that they will drop a shard, and the shard, like
magical
fucking
power
like
that imbues
impales, and you're like and you yell or whatever, and like you are given this power now. Now, if it's a small enemy, it's usually the power is that you can summon them as a helper that will go, give some damage off or whatever.
I got a little ghost that floats
127
around.
demons.
127. Okay, so there's a fuckload of demons, and holy shit,
Which are magical powers that
I
you
swear
can
to
use.
Christ, like some of these demons are just like nouns and adjectives thrown into a randomizer, and they hit randomizer like,
So it's
okay,
like Pokemon.
Copper toaster.
Guitar woman, she's in the game. Like there's a woman with an electric guitar
Is
that
there
just
really? I thought you were
shreds.
messing with me. That is awesome.
And like that creates there's a fucking puppy's head, like a little like kind of labradoodle puppy head that just
awesome.
kind of it's really off-putting. Anyway, there's a fuckload of there's a shitload of demons in this game, and each one of them gives you an ability, and you could sort of
and you can equip a couple at a time, or is it just
no, you have
Couple
separate.
at a
Yeah,
time.
you have separate abilities. So one of them is like your R2. Can be an attack. I don't really see how they differentiate what can be on your R2 attack
Yeah, I
as
think you can
opposed
put
to
whatever you
what
want
can be on
there.
your triangle attack, because they are separate. Like it's almost like having your passive is this and your primary is this and maybe your secondary is this. But I think the powers are really cool. They changed a lot of the way you can play the game. Right now I use this thing called Teps Osius, and it's just like if there's a shitload of like small ads in the room or whatever, I hit R2 and an electrical current kind of zaps all of them at the same time.
Oh, nice.
And you can upgrade those shards as well. And those upgrades come with like, at first the electrical thing only did 3 at a
there's
time. Now it could
stages.
go to 4. Now it could go to 5 enemies or whatever. There's a lot of upgrades. This game's super deep,
there's a lot of
gameplay-wise.
playstyle diversity,
Yeah.
it seems, and that's where I didn't
Tons
get
of
to that.
playstyle diversity. I got to a place last night that was very frustrating though, and hopefully it's one of the only spots that I have to deal with it, but it's underwater, and this whole time I hadn't been able to swim because I hadn't encountered an enemy yet that if you kill it,
You learn how to swim.
if you kill it the first time, something may not ever happen, but if you leave, you come back, you kill it again, nothing ever happens.
Is this a random chance?
It's random
Oh,
chance,
wow,
yeah.
okay.
Odds are you get it fairly quickly, but I ended up killing this little squid last night that gave me the ability to she essentially like aims her arm in the direction that you push water out, and then you flow through the really
A jet stream of,
the
like,
really
water?
frustrating thing about this part of the game, and holy shit, I was not happy with this choice at all, is that suddenly you are asked to sort of precisely maneuver underwater, but the controls are inverted.
Ooh.
So if
Why, though?
I have to aim top left for me to go bottom right.
No, I hate that.
And I'm like pushing myself around, and it's whatever if I'm just like kind of trying to avoid enemies sometimes, because then when you stop pointing and you want to attack the enemy, you start floating up, and that's kind of annoying. But then I got to a part where there are spikes in the water that are like shooting out and attacking me.
You had to dodge them.
And sure, I could be more patient and precise, but I was like, this just doesn't feel good. This is a really bad choice. And that's probably my major gripe. I think the game's super fun though. It is addicting. You get into that thing where now I have a double jump. Let me go back to all those spots I couldn't double jump. Your classic
exactly.
Metroidvania shit. I have There's other parts earlier in the game where you kill a boss and you unlock a power to sort of reflect you shoot a laser out like.
Oh, cool.
Your R2 is like this directional thing where your arm just moves.
You use the R analog stick to actually aim your arm at a power. Like you could, for example, have a firepower. You light a fuse on a cannon with it, or you aim your arm at a door to open it.
You shoot like a water power or whatever the fuck. But one of them is a reflector ray where it shows like a guiding laser, and if it hits the ceiling and the ground, there are spaces you couldn't go through before, but now you can then reflect into there.
And unlock new areas.
I think it's a lot of fun. I do think the game's kind of ugly in a lot of parts.
Yeah, the art style is a little weird, huh? That's what I'm saying.
And it's not a lot of people in my chat were asking me like, do you think it's just the 2.5D? I don't think it's 2.5D. I think it's fine that it's 2.5D. I don't have problems.
That was the big thing. That was one of the big things
style.
about it coming out, right? Or I'm not coming out. I mean, the announcement that Ego wanted, if I remember this correctly, to make it look more like Castlevania, obviously, with like the 3D character model, or you know what I mean, the models how look there. But he was like, it's just too expensive to do it that way. So it's easier to do this, and this is how it's going to be.
You create a model and you animate it from there, as opposed to animating frame by frame by frame.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
It's obviously a lot more efficient, but I don't have a problem with the fact that it's 2.5D. I just think a lot of the background art, there's some moments where you're walking and there's a castle in the background, kind of like you're very prototypical. You see the castle with the moon or whatever the fuck.
You can go there.
But it's like, add some depth of field or something. Like this looks like a really low poly model in the background. There's a lot of background areas and just environment art in general that don't look good. I think the lighting's really bizarre.
Yeah.
There's a lot, like, I think of a game like Hollow Knight that has such beautiful
it's a very clean,
sort of mood lighting, and some parts are darker, and that's fine. But I feel like this game felt the need to just be bright everywhere.
It's very clean and vibrant all around, exactly.
It's a little too clean and vibrant.
And when I glance at it, it reminds me a lot. And I started it, played for 2 seconds because I was testing something. So I haven't got it. And then I was waiting for the Switch version, which I installed, but then Switch has got all these problems with loading and whatever.
Yeah,
I
there are
digress on all
Switch
that.
performance issues.
Glancing at it, the art style has always reminded me, and stick with me, Way Forward, Shantae. Like, like that animated cartoon thing where but in that, it works regardless for either game, but like, Shantae always was like, it's a cartoon. That's how it should look. Like, you know what I mean? Whereas this one, it always has been this juxtaposition of it's clearly trying to be a modern Castlevania and have that aesthetic to it.
Yeah.
But then it looks more like that. And I was like, that's an interesting mix.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, for a game called Bloodstained, and it's not based on anything, is it?
No.
Yeah, so for something called...
BTW, everybody, we heard you last week. We're aware Cyberpunk 2077 is based on Cyberpunk.
Yes,
the pen and paper
that's
game.
right. Directions. But meaning for something called Bloodstained, it does not look how you'd think. Yeah, it's very clean, shiny, vibrant, and also on the 2.5D comment, just so people fully understand, the rendering, everything's in 3D, but it's 2D left to right gameplay style. But just in case they thought it was like Super Mario 3D World, which sometimes people think of as the 2.5, but anyway. But I do like it. Yeah,
I think the game is really, really good though.
If you're looking,
its core.
if you're looking for that style of gameplay, and especially someone who has a mastery of designing games like that, I think that's what it overall delivers on. But like you said, it's not without fault. And I've only played for an hour, but some things do feel a bit too archaic at times. But the amount of playstyle that did surprise me. I was like, holy cow, you can equip at any time so many different things. In the middle of combat too. You're using a whip, you're like, I'll stop, I'm gonna use this giant claymore, I'll stop, I'll use this. And also the magic replenishes really fast, I notice.
Yeah.
And that they're encouraging to use your powers a lot, which I actually really liked. I thought it was gonna be that I thought might be more old school, where you barely ever get to use it.
No, yeah.
And it's not that. It's
pretty
very
often.
very forward. So I think if you're looking for that type of game, you're gonna like it, but it's probably in that 7 to 8, 5 range. Like, I don't know without playing it, but you really need to be looking for that.
Here are my 2 questions. I think one for just Andy and then one for the entire table. Andy, for you, why this? Are you surprised you like this? You don't have an experience with Castlevania before, you were saying?
I mean, it was a game that I rented a couple times. It wasn't anything that I ever sat down and wanted. It wasn't like my Mega Man back in the day, I know that I love Metroidvanias.
Okay.
And so I was like, sure, I'll play the.
Are you surprised this one clicked?
Yeah,
okay.
Actually I am. Yeah. I do think the design is very smart. I do feel though, however, like playing Axiom Verge several years ago, where Axiom Verge, I think
Tom Happ, what up?
I think kind of was an evolved version of the classic Metroidvania, where you go back to certain areas and now these enemies can be affected by this other power you have that wasn't available before. I feel like there's not any of that yet.
Okay.
Where everything is still, you hit the thing and it dies. But I do remember moments in Axiom Verge being like, holy shit, that's smart. I haven't really had a whole lot of moments like that yet in
Really?
Bloodstained yet.
It's mostly like level accessibility.
It's mostly level
and puzzle
accessibility,
solving.
yeah.
It's not enemies that you couldn't. Like.
Correct, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Interesting.
And then the question for the table, Andrea, Renee, we'll start
Yes.
with you. Are you surprised this game's good and is being critically well received?
No, I'm not. I'm not surprised that it's good and that it's being well received. I think a game like this is set up for success because video game media loves classic retro-inspired things.
Sure.
Especially something as classic as a Castlevania game, right? So I think I'm really excited to hear that it's good because I feel like we've seen some of these Kickstarter games.
Mighty Number 9.
Right, Mighty Number 9 is the unfortunate poster child for something that people had a lot of high hopes for really reinvigorating a classic style from a gigantic creator that just really fell on its face. And thankfully, this hasn't. Obviously, there's having a couple hiccups at launch, like almost every video game does.
Sure. And again, like we were talking about it yesterday,
yeah.
the hiccup being Switch, right? Like it's got all these loading problems.
And that game-breaking bug right when
Good
it
point, good
launched,
point, yeah,
right?
Well, the
But
delay
yeah,
also,
that's right.
the input delay is also.
I heard about this.
The input delay. Jeff
This game
Grubb
fucking
from
sucks. You know?
Jeff Grubb.
On Switch?
Jeff Grubb showed that on. They were testing out between PC and Switch that Switch has 3 times the input delay, where like it shows in slow mo the button being pushed and then the PC character jumps and the Switch characters
That
like way
is messed
later.
up.
Oh yeah, I saw that video going around too.
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is something that's fixable, right?
I hope so.
But I think what I'm glad to hear is that Bloodstained doesn't have like overarching gameplay design flaws that make the game itself broken, that you can't fix it. Like some of the issues that Greg and I had with Days Gone, for example, weren't about input controls or lag or a bug. They were about like design choices overall in the game that we just weren't fans of. And it sounds like Bloodstained doesn't have that, which is a good thing.
I think it's really good. I was gonna mention something about the game release.
Think about it, because
my
thing, the question stems from I am surprised that it turned out
Me
good.
too, because of
and
Mighty
people
Number
are-
9.
Yeah, Mighty Number 9 part of it, but also just the fact that, and this is again, this isn't my kind of game. I like a Metroidvania occasionally, but it's rare. Thank you.
Metroid's my favorite franchise. That's why I said that.
I know, and they're just not good usually. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
Yeah, I don't
Just
play Metroid
precedent
games
setting.
either.
They're
Or
taught everybody
Castlevania games. Really,
how to design
Metroidvania games.
Anyways, it was the idea that I remember like it being a huge deal when Iga came to the original Kind of Funny spare bedroom, right? In 2015, and like Colin got to talk to him and all this stuff. And
Very normal,
And Aaron
casual
from
dude,
Game
by the way,
Grumps.
right?
Aaron from Game Grumps was there too. I remember that video.
that doesn't sound right.
Did he bring his hat and everything?
Here's what I was gonna mention.
I still wasn't done.
Oh, sorry. Go.
And then it was the fact that it's just been going on so long. And I was confused as well when Inti Creates put out the 8-bit one. I was like, wait, what's going on? And I remember Jared being all excited about it. And then I felt like literally I was having a conversation with somebody. I guess this just came out this week or last week. This week, right? This week on Switch.
It was last
week.
week. Yeah.
Last week for everything else. And so it was at E3 where I was having a conversation, maybe with Easy Allies, I think. And they mentioned, oh yeah, blah, blah, and it's out. And I was like, it's out next week?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about this. Like I was like, that doesn't sound like it's gonna actually line up the way it should.
Yeah, because we're used to when it's like radio silence.
Yeah, that's bad
that
time.
Probably might be mixed for reception or just bad.
What did you remember you wanted to say?
It does show you though that the like. Again, this game it can be kind of unoptimized where I'm running on a PS4 Pro and there are still moments every once in a while where I kill an enemy and boom, freeze frame. And then the animation happens. Like there are like kind of some massive frame drops here and there. Nothing game breaking, but it's like
that's surprising to me given the really not super graphical intense style of this
and I think
game.
I think that's just mostly because it's a smaller studio working on an indie game where there's tons of times where we play a very small indie game on party mode. It's like this was made in Unity or whatever by 5 people, and we're still having frame rate issues, not because it's like graphically, insane or whatever. It's just not very optimized. Yeah.
Worth pointing out in this same vein too, you can, if you have Bloodstained at home, and when you start a new game, put Team Fat in all caps, one word, and you'll unlock the Kind of Funny logo to play as.
Oh, really?
As your character's face.
Awesome.
What I was testing, and I haven't promoted it because it almost gave me like a seizure. Like it's like,
Oh,
it's like
no.
when you go into cutscenes, it flashes,
Old
and
school.
Jen was like, "What the fuck is going on?" I'm like, "I don't
Epilepsy
know." So I wrote an email. I don't know if it's been fixed. You had something else to say there? Put a
I
pin
just
in?
want to say the real crying shame about this is so this is personal to me, I guess, but I play games when I'm in a mood. In other words, there's certain games that I really want to play on Switch when I'm on a play.
Sure.
That's just the way
Sure.
that gaming has evolved for me. And unfortunately, I spend most of my time in front of my PC streaming, playing games there. What a nerd. Grinding out games like Destiny, Division 2, anything in that world. I also like highly cinematic games like Last of Us, Days Gone, God of War, all that stuff. So anyway, my point is, this game is perfect for Switch.
Yeah.
It is like, in my opinion, it is exactly what I want. I'm a huge fan of Super Metroid and Castlevania, Symphony of the Night, all of that. And so I would love to bring this on a plane. So when I heard that it does not perform well, one, that's why I was like, well, I'll just play it on PC because I want the best experience.
Yeah.
But if they fixed it up on Switch and you have a Switch, I think it's going to be a top game this year when you really like look. I mean, granted, there's a ton of games. I have to think about it, but I feel like it's going to fit into a category of like, you should get this on Switch.
And it's one of those two, like Gary and I talked about on Games Daily this week. I think it's telling that they want to fix these problems. The fact that they had a statement out the day after the Switch was released. I'm just like, hey, we hear you, we see you. We're not going to wait for a giant patch. We're going to do a bunch of little ones. We're working on it. Now, granted, they've been working on the game. Clearly, they knew something was wrong, blah, blah. I don't know how much rope you want to give them, but
Risky.
it was at least they're communicating, which so many people are terrible at doing these days.
Yeah. But anyway, I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like on that platform, it would give me a lot more joy because I'm playing it in like 20-minute stints, 40-minute stints, and I'm flying, who knows. And I think it's great for that. But in front of my PC, I'll be honest, I was like playing it for a while, and I was like, I like this, but it's very archaic. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I love those types of games, but I can't play them in my PC or even in my living room. I don't think like. I'm just rather play
no autosave.
Apex.
No autosave. You have to run into the rooms to save the game.
Yeah, it's true.
And
No
one
thanks.
thing, one thing,
You're
one thing
punished. You're punished.
I'll
for
tell you
not
one
doing
thing I really don't like is that and this is clearly just a design choice where they could have done it a certain way that I would have preferred, where there are save rooms and there are fast travel rooms.
Yeah.
They are not one and the same. And I think that's really dumb. Like the fact that
They have fast travel rooms?
yeah, you can find a separate fast travel room, but if I get to a spot and I save it, it's like fuck. I have to go back up there. to
Classic
fast travel.
games.
It's classic.
Unless
You
there's-
wanted it and you got
Unless there's a
it.
fast travel,
It's true.
maybe there's one in the room kind of near me, but that's the closest one I know of. I don't want to risk going that way. Let me go all the way back to, if you die, fuck it, you're back to your save room or whatever. But I really think that those should have been one and the same. Just,
You should save more, Forehead.
I do. Yeah,
You
I
got to.
should.
It's true that it teaches
Wait,
you really
what
fast.
did
You're
you
like,
say?
sorry,
It's
it's
a
a Twitch
Twitch
thing.
thing. It's a Twitch
Andy,
thing.
get it.
Yeah.
It's an emote Forehead. Like, duh,
Monkas,
I
dude.
should have done that.
Monkas, dude.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, it is very classic, like you said.
These kids, these Gary Whittens
These Gary
running around, streaming up a storm. Nobody
Oh,
can
dude,
keep up.
I didn't watch Games Daily, but I was watching Gary's stream, and he was like, yeah, Greg Miller got me good when he was like, so Gary's streaming, and speaking of another senior citizen that's streaming, Bernie Sanders. So that's a
Nailed
good
him.
one.
Nailed him.
You,
Gary sucks.
you got his bitch ass.
Andy, not
What's
only
up?
are you playing this classic,
Yeah.
inspired classic game,
Yeah.
Bloodstained, you're also playing the brand new Outer Wilds.
Yeah, I beat Outer Wilds kind of around when we started getting going with E3, so it kind of just got lost in the shuffle, I feel. But I played and beat Outer Wilds over maybe a week or something like that. A couple hours here and there,
Do you feel it deserves? It's deserved all the praise it's getting.
It is one of it is.
Yeah, I've been wanting to play
It's
this.
probably my game of the year.
Really?
At first I kept thinking Apex is my game of the year, similar to how like when Overwatch was out that year, that was my game that I just could not put down, and I felt the same way about Apex. But I think Outer Wilds is my game of the year right now. It is so challenging. It throws away. It does not hold your hand at all.
Yeah.
You're gonna work for a lot of these puzzles where it's context clues. There's a moment where. there's a moment where you have to. There's sand being pulled from your planet to another planet, and if you get caught in the sand vortex, you shoot up. But you notice on the ground where the sand moves over, there's a guy on the ground, and he hasn't been shot up by the sand. So what's going on here? Oh, he's underneath the bridge. If I stand underneath the bridge, I won't get sucked up. That means that I can do this. It's like
that's
so.
cool.
It reminds me of when people played The Witness and they were all up on that. Like it is
Yeah.
problem solving. But tied with this fantastic narrative that you can kind of discover as you play. You're not going to play it kind of in the same order that anybody else would. You are discovering this mystery about the universe and its demise and its past. But the feelings that I had watching Interstellar in a movie theater.
You're getting with this game.
A million times. I've had this feeling in this game. I was talking, I forgot who I was talking to. I think it might have been Gary Whitta, where I was like, no, it was Danny O'Dwyer. I was like, I have felt every emotion playing this game, and at times, all of them at the same time. Like, I'm scared, but I'm excited, and I'm like, there's my tears in my eyes. Like, this game's fucking incredible, dude.
So not to interrupt, but to maybe give people some context for what the Outer Wilds is for people who are like, I don't know. That's that game that Obsidian's making, right?
That's Outer Worlds.
Yeah, so unfortunately they're both releasing in the same year. But so people understand, how would you describe what the game of the Outer Wilds is?
The game of Outer Wilds is it's on Game Pass now. So if you have Game Pass,
awesome.
It's free on Game Pass if you already are a subscriber or whatever. Outer Wilds is very much like a Groundhog Day game where at a certain time period, you'll start at the beginning and you have to keep on discovering. It's a space exploration, sort of sci-fi narrative, but it's not. A lot of people immediately think it's like No Man's Sky, where it's like millions of planets.
Right.
It's not
all this
procedurally
shit.
generated.
No. This is you're in a contained solar system with, I think, like 8 or 9 planets or something like that. And you are this sort of spacefaring race of creatures that are on. You're not human. You're just kind of on this planet with a bunch of other like kind of cartoony looking aliens, and you are going to go explore space. And there are other astronauts just like you who have already gone out, and you have to kind of seek them out, find out what they've figured out, and learn as you go. And it is, again, it is not a game that handholds. You're not going to get fucking waypoints telling you where to go. The clues are all things that you just read in the world. You're essentially you're learning about the prior race before you that kind of laid this foundation. This was like several 100,000 years ago, I believe, or 50,000 years ago or something.
Because like most video games, you start this one, no one's 100% sure what's going on,
Yep.
and you're special, right? I've played through the intro a couple times, and you walk, like when you leave, you're getting ready to take off, you have to do these little things before you can, and on your way back to your spaceship, right, there's like a sacred
statue,
monument
yeah.
that speaks to you, and then you turn to the other people like, did you see that? And like, no one's ever been spoken
Yeah,
to.
they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And so as you are sort of discovering how that happened to you and why that happened to you, you are also learning about your solar system that you live in and the people that were there before you, the explorers that were there before you, their technology, what they're working on. It's so fascinating. I can't recommend this game more. I think
It's all first person?
It's all first person. Yeah, I think a lot of people I've noticed
And
have,
you can roast marshmallows.
You can roast marshmallows, yeah. And people have kind of like told me that they were put off by the flight controls. I had problems with the flight controls like fairly just in the beginning. I didn't really continue to have those issues.
Sounds like it's
I
complex
didn't.
enough
I
you gotta
didn't
learn them,
enjoy
or-
the flight controls when
Really?
I played, but I think that's one thing that you just have to spend time practicing.
Yeah, you just
like
get
any
used to
new traversal mechanic in a game that's different. You know, you just got to
Yep.
practice.
Yeah, that's been my experience with it. Is that Judges Week last year we played it. Then there was when I went to do Sayonara Wild Hearts around GDC time they had it, and I played it again. And both those times that it was just from the start, like go ahead and play. And the intro did not click for me. And so when it actually launched, I was like, I got to try this. I have Game Pass. Booted it up, turned it on, jumped in, and didn't get much further. It was like, all right, cool, I'm off the planet, I'm going, I've landed on this one planet, it's pretty much all water. I bumped into something, my thruster, I'm in the water, I couldn't get out. I was like, all right, well, this isn't, and like you're saying, there's no hand holding. And like
Yeah.
you were saying a second ago about like what mood you need to be in, Fran, like
Yeah.
I was like, I am not in this
Not in that mood right now,
I am
yeah.
not in the mood
Yeah,
to like get my
it's-
teeth kicked in until I figure out how to do this.
It's like I hate to put people off on this game, but it's sort of like recommending somebody watch a 12-hour documentary on JFK or something, where it's like
Yikes.
you're not just gonna sit down and experience a super fast episode of The Office that's like bang bang bang
Right, that
comedy comedy
pulls
comedy.
you in and
it's something you have to sit down and experience and
Immerse yourself,
learn
sounds
and immerse yourself. Like it's the type of game that when I beat it, I immediately went to the subreddit and just read on everything I could. And I just wanted to learn more. And if there's stuff I missed, there's a bunch of different endings.
She's saying I should just read the subreddit. Got it.
No. Because the feelings you get from not only what's happening in the game, but paired with the soundtrack. The soundtrack is available on Spotify. It is fucking great.
Hans Zimmer do it?
It feels like it because there's
Really?
a lot of
Oh, wow.
there's a
Interstellar,
lot of
by
those
the way.
moments where you have these sort of powerful things that are
That's
happening
cool.
on screen,
And they really
the,
amplify
the,
with-
the organs are. And
Nice.
it's beautiful, dude.
Sounds like they caught some inspiration then from Interstellar. Like
I got
legit,
all,
right?
all of those vibes where you're watching Interstellar and everything's super loud and you're scared, but
Andrew Prowler
Contact, by the way, the
is
original.
the composer.
I tweeted him and I was like, "You made one of my favorite soundtracks ever. Thank you for this." Yeah,
He's like, I
it's-
love party mode.
So at one point, you were in tears and you said, "They should have sent a poet." It's a Contact reference.
Oh, Contact.
Yeah,
Contact's
yeah.
good.
Gotta
yeah.
watch Contact. It's got some like
Yeah.
really cheesy but awesome moments.
Contact's a great movie.
Anyway,
love
Outer
Contact,
Wilds,
yeah.
I cannot
love
recommend it
Contact.
more. Please play it. It started off as a student project in 2013 or something like that. And then it just, enough people liked it to where I guess Microsoft or whoever, published it and built a team around them and shit like
Annapurna.
that.
Annapurna.
Annapurna, there you go, yeah.
I think I might be checking this out on Fran Friday.
Oh, Friday
is.
Friday's
I always look
happening.
for something new to play, and like it's been sitting in my Epic store as well. Talk about a double promotion, but it's been in the Epic store, and I've been wanting to play it, and I have access to it now.
An
So I'm
open
gonna-
world mystery game about a solar system trapped in an endless time loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have a set amount of time, and then you go back to the beginning. You have to do everything
Sounds
over
like
again.
Majora's
Right?
Mask.
It's very similar to like that. You're
Like
you
on the timer?
You start hearing the music pop up, ding, 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 ding,
Really?
and you're like,
Ah.
oh shit, I have
It's
to
almost
fucking
time,
I
yeah.
have to finish up what
How
I'm
much
doing.
time do you have?
22 minutes.
It does none of
And
your,
they-
none
and
of the
all
stuff
that's
you do
explained.
carries over,
All
right?
right, I got to check this out.
Yeah, like if well.
But you're not building things in the world or changing things in the world. That are
No,
there in
you
your
are
next
just
playthrough.
you are learning.
You're
and
learning,
You
yeah.
are sort of collecting knowledge.
Yeah, your character remembers.
You,
yeah,
you go back to your
It's like
ship.
Happy Death Day or Happy Death Day to you,
Sure.
where you remember everything when you restart.
Yeah,
the day.
you have this sort of clue thing on your ship that looks like it kind of just looks like there's information here and it's all tied together and eventually it all starts tying and
Yeah,
it's so.
How many hours would you estimate it might be?
I'd say maybe close to 20 or 15.
Okay, so it's not like a 60-hour.
I mean, maybe
Doesn't
not
have
even
to
that.
be.
Maybe not even that long. That's the thing. There's so many. You can forego a lot of things in this game, and maybe fast track it. I don't know how long that would take, if that's possible. But the game is so weird because you're not exploring it the same way. You're not learning this knowledge the same way that anybody else is playing it is learning it. It's if I go to this planet first, I'm going to learn stuff there that you might not know because you went to that place first
Right.
and shit like that. And you're kind of piecing this puzzle together.
Cool.
it's awesome.
It's incredible, dude. Yeah.
Speaking of incredible things, ladies and gentlemen, I had a dream come true. Where we travel a lot, Fran, as you know. Not you so much anymore. You're part of your PC being a
Yeah, I
huge dork.
mean, sometimes.
Me and Andrea travel a lot. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's true.
You're going to Texas. Andy.
Getting ostracized here.
Yeah, you are. No, I want to turn it on you. But I was having a conversation with Tim the other day on our trip back from E3, right? And I was just like, man, it just sucks right now. And I was holding my Switch of like, I have so many games on the Switch, but none of them are what I want right now. We're talking about moods, right? Where
Yeah.
I kept talking about, I want Ultimate Alliance right now. I just want to run around and smash the hell out of stuff. I don't have Ultimate Alliance. That's not where the story's going. But I was looking for something to kind of be obsessed with on the Switch, right? And it happened not once, but twice, Andy. Since I guess last Gamescast, really, where we got a million press releases, as everybody knows. One of them that dropped in my inbox the other day was for Dandy Dungeon. Have you heard of Dandy Dungeon?
Never
heard of it.
It was a goofy enough name, right? Where I was like, what the hell is Dandy Dungeon? And I scrolled down. This is what sold me on it. Dandy Dungeon is a story-driven romantic comedy roguelite RPG, which fuses retro visuals with modern ideas and features an amazing soundtrack which layers together chip tunes and the humming of the main character himself. Loot procedurally generated dungeons, transform your weapons into legendary blades, collect dandy armor sets, and catalog monsters in your quest for love.
This is a solid description.
And I was like, immediately reply, yeah, I'd like a code for this. And I got it totally expecting. I get codes for a whole bunch of stuff on Switch that I pop in, I play for a while. I'm like, okay, cool. I can talk about a Gamescast, or this isn't for me, and I move on to the next thing. Jumped into this one and then immediately just started checking all the boxes of what I want at this moment, right? Where it is, the idea here is that you are, the full title, right? I don't have it here. I pull it over here. It's Dandy Dungeon, Legend of Brave Yamada. And the idea is that you are Yamada-san. You are a Japanese programmer. You are 36.
That
you
font
live
looks real familiar.
You live alone. Yeah, right. Yeah, and like He looks a lot like Mario as a character too. You live alone and you program at basically their Nintendo, the biggest thing, right? And you decide, he decides he wants to start making his own game, right? And so he starts just working on it on his computer, and then you go in and play test the levels, right? And you go in and you debug the system, and this whole thing starts to evolve. Cute girl moves in next door, so he's like, he falls in love with her. He puts her in the game as the princess. Now the game changes from just going through the dungeons and getting
really
loot
cool.
to trying to save the princess, right? And then this all happens very early, and it's not a story-driven game. The CEO of the publisher comes in and is just like, you're not coming to work anymore. You're fired, right? So now he's the evil guy in the game, and your mom's so proud of you that she's sending you new mini levels to play to put into your thing and do this, but. What gets crazy about it, right, is that
her husband comes and kills you.
No, is that the gameplay isn't turn-based. It isn't an action strategy or anything like that. It's you go into it. And I should point out that this is new to Switch as of today, as of the recording. However, it was a mobile game, so it's got that vertical thing, layout. Now they've put a whole bunch of stuff on the sides of it. But what happens is the gameplay of playing through the dungeons isn't going in and fighting them with making those choices. It's tracing lines on the map to it's a tiled squares. I'm sure Andrea's seeing right now. And you trace your path from the start of it. And Barrett, if you want to bring it up, Dandy Dungeon. You trace your path from the start to the goal. And the idea is that you want to touch every one of the tiles to get a bonus and get more gold to come out of.
That'll be better.
But you can also skip it. But then every empty square you leave open gives you a hit point, or takes away a hit point, I should say. You get damaged. So as you go through and start doing this, it'll say
if you scroll down, there's a video.
There's
I had to work on other stuff.
There's 5 stages, 5 levels to a stage, right? So you have to get clear through them. As Yamada-san, the character is going, the video game character is going and runs into enemies, he'll start attacking them. You don't choose the attacks; you see it going on there. You'll unlock special abilities. You'll have on a little thing that you can deploy. You can deploy a heal. You can deploy a fireball. You can do all these different things. However, it is about number one, a maze. There's a timer. There's penalties if you take too long. But then it is monitoring him on his path of, I didn't see this guy and he's shooting me from a few tiles away. I need to watch my health, or I need to make a move beforehand. It's way more complex than I think I initially thought it was going to be, and it's what keeps me coming back to it throughout this Quebec trip of this is so weird. They talk about him humming over the chiptunes. When you do it, it's like the chiptune background, but it is him going da 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 da. You know what I mean? It's this really
cool.
Interesting,
look at the boss.
Bizarre, absurd game.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and it looks like so is it always in dungeons?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like it's actually so the character and stuff's almost like Mario-esque, you work in Nintendo, but you're Mario. But the game and the font is like Dragon Warrior, Dragon Quest stuff.
Yeah, Dragon Quest, exactly. Dandy Dungeon looks exactly like that.
It's got slimes and stuff in it, so it seems like that's the inspiration for the dungeon.
And so as you see here, this is where the roguelite stuff comes in. As you go through, if you clear the level, you bring your treasure back out. You can go back in and replay for bonuses and stars to get more stuff. But you bring the gear sets out, and then you can level them up with your gold. You can take other stuff and infuse them in to make the thing stronger. The chef outfit comes with a different bonus than say the I think it's a chauffeur outfit with his little. It's super weird, and it looks goofy, and it's so much fun. It's just a cool idea. And at first, when I booted up, it was like, I didn't realize it's a cell phone game. You know what I mean? But then playing it, it's so much deeper than I gave it credit for. And if Per Schneider is playing it as well, I see him on the leaderboards. So yeah.
I saw you tweeted him about this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So yeah, Dandy Dungeon, Legend of Brave Yamada now on Switch. Again, it's already out on phones, I guess. Awesome. Totally gets the seal of approval. A lot of fun. Really enjoyed what I'm playing of it, and I was going ham on it, having a great time in Quebec. That was the game I was playing down there, right? Mm-hmm. Having a good time. Then I went to the Kind of Funny subreddit, Fran.
Oh.
And I saw a lot of people.
Are you going to segue to a new thing?
Huh? Yeah. Do you have more questions
about
Brave
Yamada?
Real fast please do. Oh my God, please.
It was just a very fast and notable point that we don't really cover mobile. It's hard to tackle, and I'm on a thread with all these ex-Apple guys, and
I know those clowns. Yeah.
And dude, I can't tell you how much. For all we know, the commentary I usually hear is, that game's 2 years old, and there's literally 100,000 other games that are better than that you should play right now on mobile.
Sure.
So I think it's a good reminder that you're liking this game where were we when this came out? Why didn't we just play it on our phone? Like, it's still this mood and this gap of us that we have to bridge. I know this, and I'm like, I don't have time. I feel like I don't have time for it on my phone. You know what I mean?
I love this discussion. No, totally. I'm with you that I know there's so many amazing games on mobile devices, but again, for me, it's the buttons and the tactile nature of a Switch, of a controller.
I prefer it too.
That I just, and what you're talking about is 100% true of discovery. Like, and don't get me wrong, those sites exist. Those
even the Apple
resources and
storefront is better
podcasts exist. But I have more games than I'll ever play right now. Only worried about 3 consoles, and let alone PC, let alone mobile.
Yeah.
VR, I'm not even counting.
I think you nailed it with we haven't, or no, we've tried. We've obviously played mobile games. Like, we prefer the tactile input of see, I use the term like real, and I'm telling you, I'm on the thread with these guys, and they'll be like, oh yeah, you're like a baby. This is what everybody's playing now on touch, use your touch screen. You don't need buttons, but I prefer that style, and it just is, it's the mood and the feel of it.
And that was the thing, like, for the record with Brave Yamada here, D&D Dungeon, I played on the flight, and then for a while at Jen's parents, and it must have been 3 hours in.
You played 3 hours straight of this game?
Oh, well, no, I mean, over a couple days.
Oh, gotcha.
But it must have been 3 hours in before I was like, wait. And I started tracing the line on the screen with my finger. And I was like,
you realize you could just use your touch screen.
This is clearly how it was designed. I'm navigating so much faster than moving like the Final Fantasy white gloved hand around and sticking. And I was like,
demonstrates the exact problem we have.
Yeah,
I'll tell you why I also just can't play on mobile, and like I don't really have a tablet that I use. There's so much other distraction. Like, I'm getting a text message. Frankly, I'm so trained to like check Twitter every 5 minutes. If I'm on my phone, I'm just gonna cancel the game for like a minute, and I'm like, it's a terrible experience for me.
In the same, we just did a PlayStation VR show today. Remember, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can watch Kevin and I record them live before months from now when they're out on YouTube. The thing I love about VR, I think, speaks to playing Switch on a plane. It is the idea that with VR, and I'm in that world. And immersed. I can't look at my phone. I can't do this thing. I can't worry about anything else. In the same way, when I'm on a plane, right, and the Switch is on, cool. I don't have that distraction of what's going on my phone.
You can't go walk Porty.
Yeah, exactly, right? You get to, I remember when the Switch came out, and then Zelda obviously came out, and then it was like later that week, or a couple, maybe 2 weeks later, we went to PAX, and it was a cross-country flight. And like that, I'll never forget landing in Boston and being like, that felt like it was an hour. I played I played Zelda the entire way, right? I played Breath of the Wild the entire way.
Down, I bet.
And it was like, exactly, it was like the time just was gone.
Yep.
That's such an awesome experience.
Yep.
Similar to the game I want to talk about now, which again, I was so happy to have Yamada's story happening, and I was like, good, a Switch game that I'm all invested on. This is cool, but I still find I could put it down every so often. You know what I mean? Mobile games, mobile tendency,
mobile
maybe.
Games, yeah.
I went to the subreddit while I was in Quebec and found Katie from Greg's Comic Book Club. You all know her well, I'm sure. She had posted over there, Moonlighter, a Greg Miller-esque roguelike on Switch. Can anyone remember if any of the guys tried or talked about a game, Moonlighter, when it came out a year ago? Just started on Game Pass, but it's also on PlayStation 4 and Switch. I was like, I never heard of this. I read her description. I went and got it. And do you want to talk about how much Yamada, great. This is a game, like, literally I came in from playing it on the flight home, walked in, put it in the dock, grabbed the controller, and kept playing it there.
Couldn't peel yourself away.
Again, Fran Mirabella.
Beautiful art style.
I'm pitching it to you. Yeah, exactly. The idea here is that, don't play anything yet, though. Let me explain it before you do it.
First,
the idea here, right, is that it's another roguelite. It's action RPG. This time you are actually making the decisions, right? But you go into procedurally generated dungeons at night. You go in there, you fight the slimes, the things that shoot you. You'll see in a second. Yeah,
okay. Like I really liked Hades as an example.
It's like that. Yeah, you nail it.
Top down.
Exactly. So you go in there, you beat these guys up, you fill your inventory with stuff, and then you get out, or you push further like a Spelunky or any other dungeon crawler rogue, whatever you want to say. You come back out to the village, right? You go back to your house, and then a new day begins. It's daytime, and then Fran, you sell the stuff you earned in the dungeon. Because who you are in this game isn't the adventurer. You are the merchant in town who moonlights as an adventurer.
Oh, that's cool.
And so you come back in here, and the date, like the combat is fun. It's all that different jazz you'd expect from that kind of gameplay. You come back in, and then you do a business simulator where you go and you take your items, and like what I'm doing right now is I'm building towards specific gear sets, right? So I've wishlist everything I need. You wishlist the thing, then my inventory shows if I actually need it for what I'm working on. So when I come back out of a dungeon, I have all the stuff that I don't need for the projects I'm working on, and so I know I'm going to sell all of that. I put it on the table. I set the prices. Then people come
For the
in.
people in town?
People come
Really?
in. They look at it, and this like emoticon comes up over their head of like ... Then it's either a smiley face, they like it, they'll buy it. This begrudging smiley face where it's like, this is a little too
Yeah.
much, but I'll pay for it. A frowny face, they won't pay for it. And then there's one of the other side of the spectrum that's gold for eyes. It's like, this guy's an idiot and he's selling it way too cheap.
Oh, yeah.
And so you start playing this business sim now of, oh man, I didn't know what that was and I sold it way too cheap. So if
Next
100's
time.
too cheap, is 500, you start playing with the
You're
economy.
pricing the market.
And then it shows the popularity of the item. You can flood the market with too much of the stuff, so then your prices go down and they don't care as much. Then you're earning this money that you then take back out. You can upgrade the town, bring in a blacksmith, bring in a guy who, you don't want to find random stuff, like I'll sell specific stuff. Then it's, you can upgrade your own shop, make your shop bigger. You can sell more. You have sale tables. Like,
So how much of it is playing in the dungeon and fighting things, and how much is selling?
I would say the
business?
majority is playing and fighting in the dungeon.
Oh, okay.
It's because what happens is in the beginning when you're like, oh, I don't know, blah, blah. Right now, I've been running the same dungeon over and over again. So I know what I'm getting and I know what I'm grinding out towards. So when I come back out, there's all these quick features like we're talking about modern game stuff where I can hover over and like, quick move and it'll move it and put it on the table to sell at the price I had set it at before, whether it was popular or not.
That
so
sounds
it's kind
cool.
of like a split of gameplay,
Let it play if you want, Bear.
like Battle Chef Brigade, where you would do these dungeon runs to get ingredients.
Yep.
Then you would do this like Iron Chef competition with the ingredients you got in your dungeon run.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. But obviously the art style is very different, and like there's no cooking. You're
Oh no,
selling
yeah, no,
stuff.
totally.
Yeah.
But you're nailing it in terms of it's this like interesting mashup, right? Of dungeon crawler, rogue, business simulator, doing all these different things, upgrading your town.
And it's my favorite type of 2D pixel art too.
Yeah,
like,
the art style's
animations
really
are great.
cool.
I bought it. I played like maybe an hour of it, but I think it was on a trip.
Yeah.
And then I never like picked it up again. But yeah, I enjoyed what I played for sure.
Yeah, I'm floored. Like, and it's one of those things that a lot of, not even a lot, I guess, actually, because we're always usually ahead of the curve on console games in
usually
particular,
know.
right? Where it's like we get to tell people what we think of games before they come out. Like this, I thank Katie so much in the
That
community
style's
for
great,
turning
man.
this on to me because it is that thing of like this is for sure my nonstop Switch game until
Yeah.
it's over because I'm just having such a good time with it, and it doesn't have. So many rogue games will put a time thing on you of like, oh, you got to fight this thing in this many days or whatever. And like, this just isn't that pressure. It's like I'm grinding out the same dungeon over and over again, and I'm getting to the point where, all right, cool, I need stuff that I know is in the other dungeon, but I'd rather upgrade my shop before I leave, so I'm just going to keep doing this to earn money. I'm going to keep doing this to move on.
It's cool. It's got like almost like a little Link to the Past kind of vibe. It's
Link
really
to the Past. It's Bastion.
Yeah.
It's what was the one?
It is very
the other
flowy
rogue game that I like where
art
you only
style.
fought bosses. You ran around with the little bow and arrow. Look at the chat; they'll tell you eventually.
really cool.
Oh
yeah,
God,
this
I know what you're talking
I'm,
about.
I'm down for this.
Titan something?
Yes, Titan.
Titan Souls.
Titan Souls.
There you go.
There you go. Good one.
Yeah, I'm gonna be flying the Guardian con soon.
Totally
I'm gonna
love
be
it.
picking this
Yeah,
one up.
I totally recommend it. Like I said, I'm playing it on Switch. I came home and like I didn't even think about switching over to PS4 for trophies because again, it's going to be something I want to have with me all the different places. But again, Xbox Game Pass for free right now.
Oh, it's on Xbox Game Pass.
Yep.
That's really neat.
Came out in May last year and then came to Switch in November of last year.
Man.
So just totally slipped by. There's
You
DLC
see-
apparently coming for it.
See, it's games like that as we sit here talking about our mood and where we play
Yep.
it and should we play mobile, that is where I think Stadia and xCloud eventually are going to be fitting in. Like, if this is on Games Pass and it's on xCloud and I can just, if I can somehow still play it on the plane though, that's
You
still
won't
the
be
gap.
able to play it on a plane.
Well,
No.
we'll have to figure that part out. But if I can,
Joey, thank
man, it ticks so many
you.
boxes
Yeah.
that it's on Games Pass. I can just do it. But I'll be getting this for Switch, obviously.
You bring up Stadia and xCloud. You wanted to talk about these. You played Stadia at E3?
We didn't have a chance to talk about it. So
Because
what
Tim
I-
runs a weird ship around here where all he wants to do is go, I love you, and walk away.
I love you guys. So wait, yeah, you weren't on the show last week, right? Or
Oh, what?
no, you were. We
No.
just didn't get to talk about it. We talked about everything. so
You
many
sound
things
like
that we
Bane.
played.
I was.
So anyway, the short of it was, what did you say in your tweets? If you could recap what your experience was. That's all I know that you know about Stadia. You played it and you like, what was your first reaction? Roughly speaking.
My reaction.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, you
For
like-
me, it took. I played Doom Eternal again. I played I played off of a Chromebook running an Ethernet line into it, HDMI to the TV.
Yes.
Stadia
I had the same.
controller. Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, so say that one more time. You played off of a Chromebook running an Ethernet line.
So it was an Ethernet to the Chromebook.
So you were hardwired.
Hardwired
Correct.
connection.
Yeah,
yep.
exactly.
Convenient.
Well, sure. It's not a full test, but whatever. 25 megabits per second.
Yeah.
I was in the same room. I believe
Yeah,
it was the 1080p.
Did you guys
sort of
do like
recommended.
a speakeasy
It was
speed
the
test?
No, a speedtest.net, you mean?
Yeah.
No. I mean, look, I'm going to trust PR when they told me. And I talked to one
See,
of the
this is where your falling is, Fran. You trusted
Okay.
PR to tell you how fast the internet
Okay,
was.
we also know the PR guy. We've known for many years. He's
Patrick
not going to lie.
Sewell pulling a fast one on us.
Patrick's not going to lie. Anyway, yes, the setup was exact that. Doom Eternal, 1080p. It was on a 30-some inch, maybe 40-inch television, though.
I think 40, yeah.
So the Chromebook was connected to a
HDMI.
an HDMI cable.
out
Okay.
so that's the thing. You were actually playing on a full-size TV, and then we had a Stadia controller, so
Yep.
we got to play that as well. So yeah, you walked out, and so you were like,
For me, it totally reinforced everything that I want that thing to be. And I was like, I bought a founder's package after that, a press conference, and I was like, I know I'm doing this on blind
still gotta do
faith. I'm doing all this. I walked out of that, and I
you're
was like,
I'm in.
This just justified that purchase of. I don't know if it's going to be the end all be all. If it's going to take off, it's going to do it. But I am in for the ride of that.
But it works.
I'm in for the ride of that.
Tell me about the controller.
Yeah, how did you like the controller?
wait, can we come back to the controller? Because I want to
Okay, sure.
stick on the.
We'll put a pin in it.
The easy answer is the controller's totally solid. It's based on Xbox, I think, and it feels sort of normal. It's kind of got the PlayStation stick layout, though, right? Well, let's come back to the controller. So I want to ask you, you're playing Doom Eternal on this.
That's right.
Did you want to play Doom Eternal on this? Was that sort of where you are? Or you're just like, wait, it works, and so whatever comes this way, you're in. You know what I mean?
Well, this is how I think we talked about my Doom thing last week, right? Where this
Like, where are you gonna play
the
this?
key to it was that. Oh, I see what you're saying.
If you have it now and they all come out, let's say at the same time, when you say to me, you're like, I'm totally in. I'm just wondering, what does that mean? Does that mean that you actually own two versions, but you're going to play it on the road sometimes, and you assume it as crossover? Like, what is it?
For me,
I know that's getting in the
for
weeds.
me, it
but
totally comes down to that's a TBD. I shake the magic 8 ball and can't tell you because I don't have all the information.
Yeah.
I need to see what it runs like on my house Wi-Fi, what it runs like on hotel Wi-Fi, and see if it's
yeah,
like,
you still want to see if Stadia works outside the test environment.
Sure.
Well,
yeah,
and
exactly.
it's interesting that you bring up a single player experience. I mean, obviously Doom has multiplayer, but they've already said that they don't know what the cross-play situation and cross-save situation is going to be with Stadia when it launches because they don't have those deals worked out with the other platform makers. And so I think it's going to be nice to have an option, especially for people like you and I, Fran, that play a lot of Destiny, that has a cloud saving system. So I could play it at home on my PS4, and then if I'm on the road, if I don't have to bring my PS4 and my game screen and all of that, all the cables and everything that go along with that, if I can just bring my iPad and play Stadia with my, DualShock
Time,
or whatever,
mood, place,
right?
Sounds so
That's
great.
No,
Yeah,
it
that's where it's
does, doesn't
different.
it? That's like the promise of what Stadia can do. However, we don't know if I'm going to have to buy a license for Shadowkeep or whatever the next thing for Destiny is on PlayStation and on Stadia.
Yeah, no, you do.
Right?
Now,
Or
you
like-
get it with your Founders Pass, so you don't have to worry about it. Sorry, your first month of Stadia Pro, you get Shadowkeep. So technically you own two versions, but you're set because now you have your main version and that version. But the point is it'll work on that. Other games, and that's where I'm going with this, is what do you want Stadia for? Are you thinking of playing in your living room? Sounds like you're saying for starters, you just got to see if it works at home.
100%. Let's say, I've talked about this on the Gamescast me and Tim did at E3 where we were drinking beers and hanging out. But if Stadia, and I know this won't happen, so don't bother even throwing hot coals at me. But if Stadia works the way it worked when we used it, and on the road works comparable, maybe there's a degrade in visual quality, but I'm still not feeling latent. You know what I mean? Because Doom felt like Doom.
I was
on
very
Stadia,
surprised.
Doom
I'll just
on
jump in and say
Stadia
that.
felt like Doom when we played it at Judges Week on a whatever fancy ass PC we were playing with, but with a controller. If that is the same way, then it will be a long, hard conversation. It will suddenly become a. Am I going to platinum this game? No, then probably go through Stadia.
Because you might want to play it on the road.
100%. I'm on the road so much. I do
Exactly.
so many
Travel a lot,
things that like it just makes more sense that if I talk about, man, I wish there was something on Switch. I say that because I'm on the road so much. I have my Switch with me and it's easy. When I go, it's easy when we're at Jen's parents' house in the country. That cool. We're gonna go downstairs and for 45 minutes or whatever. She's playing Stardew and I'm playing Yamada right before bed. It's like that's so much easier than cool. We're gonna go downstairs and the first 5 minutes is me breaking out the PS4, unwinding the cable, plugging in. What's your Wi-Fi? Doing this. Well, where's the
What a hassle.
and it's not even that. It's like such a first world problem hassle.
Yeah.
But it's so much
No,
easier
it's annoying.
if it was.
There's times where I'm just like, I'll just leave it in the bag. I
Yeah.
really don't want to unpack it right now.
And that's the
You're
thing,
not
like to
wrong.
what we're talking about. If it's just turn on the iPad, turn on the controller, and I'm playing a game, and this is the kind of funny motto when we talk about all this, that's good enough.
Yeah.
If it's good enough, then yeah. Like playing Doom Eternal,
It was
I was like
good enough.
Oh yeah, but I was like, oh yeah, I'm not even that guy. You kind of are that guy. I was like, the colors looked a little bit more washed out than I remember them on PC.
Well, certain games are
Good
going to
eye.
always be better on certain
100%.
platforms, right?
But I don't give a shit. I would have played it there, right?
Perfect
Yeah.
segue. So, I played it. I also played xCloud, by the way. I don't know if you guys had the chance.
Yeah.
But I went in with a very critical eye too, because I'm the video guy, and also, like if I take a photo, right, I'm zooming in. It takes me like 7 years to release a single photo because I'm like all the detail, right? So to be fair, I'm trying to set myself up. I am a snob when it comes to fidelity of stuff, but that's one thing that I really enjoy, and that is why I've been very bought in still to the idea that I probably will have, the PS5 and the next Xbox and be really all in on that, hooked up to either, my PC screens or my my home 4K screen, and all about the fidelity, because the difference between direct output versus what's going on with Stadia, and that was the biggest thing I wanted to see. I describe it as you're playing YouTube, right? You're selecting the 1080p or you're selecting 4K. Like that is the experience you're getting, quote unquote, because it's, it sends this direct signal and it comes back to you after being compressed as a video signal. And and it's Google making it. Trust me, it's not that far off of probably what YouTube does for its encoding. Long story short, when you just brought up, you're like, yeah, it looked a little more washed out. Man, I saw a lot more than that going on. I also, to be fair, I went in looking for it.
Yeah.
I had just played Doom Eternal on PC at the Bethesda event, the day before. So I had a very good point of reference. Where I'm going with this is, yes, it's good enough. And the input latency, let's just address that. I was surprised. I was as surprised as you. I was like testing. I was like, is it working right? I was like, wow, like it's pretty close. Like I'd have to get into like a multiplayer match, I think. But I felt like I could aim at the enemies. I didn't feel like, I was really searching for the feeling of like bad latency and input. I was surprised, it didn't have that.
I think we're in a situation now, hearing you guys talk about it, where if Stadia can beat out Switch, there's really no reason why you would ever want to play a third-party game on Switch over Stadia. Because as we've seen, I've yet to see a third-party AAA release on Switch that hasn't had some kind of resolution dip, frame rate dips, latency issues, some kind of technical
UI.
downgrade
Just UI, right?
to play it on Switch. And Switch is double the price of Stadia right now?
True, but I was gonna say, Andrew, I do this. We always do this. How are you gonna play it on the bus, the airplane, at the park? What is you playing? See what I'm saying? Like if you
Stadia?
have an LTE on your phone, that'll work at the park, I guess. Hopefully you get a good, but you need 25 megabits per second for 1080p.
No, I'm with you.
I was just bringing that up.
Totally, no, totally. That would be the thing.
The Switch is my plain machine, right?
Yeah.
Like when I'm not, because I can barely do Gmail on plain Wi-Fi,
God,
let
it's
alone
awful, right?
That's what
let
I'm
alone
saying.
the promise
You
of
can't
doing
play
Stadia is like not happening, right?
See, I'm right there with you in the fact that I think in that world, it would just be the fact that my consoles are coming with me, but it's just Stadia.
Yeah.
Where I think still think of the Switch would be the indie machine. It probably would be where I still play Moonlighter because, all right, cool. I want to be able to just play it anywhere on the bus, on the Muni or whatever.
Yeah.
But like when I'm thinking of my Stadia experiences in a perfect world that I know won't happen, it is that cool. Oh man. Kick up my heels in bed in between a shoot on a set before, hurry up and wait before we film this thing. I boot up and I go run a couple things in Division. Again, Dream World's not happening.
Hey,
I know.
thanks, Joey.
Yep. So anyway, I think that is what's going to get all out of us is like, wait, should I get it on Switch because I'm not going to have a connection, or maybe I'm going to.
Yeah.
I'll just get Stadia because I think I'm going to have a connection most of the time. It's going to be interesting to go through that, but just to finish where I was going with it is the gameplay was working fine on this 1080p recommended 25 megabits per second. Fidelity-wise, though, it is very much a 1080p video encoded frame, and man, it just hit me in the face like a truck. And for me, I felt like I was playing an Xbox 360 game almost.
Wow.
That's an exaggeration. You played the same thing. You didn't feel like that, right?
No.
But
I knew something was different. I'm just not that guy, but I knew something was different.
It's washier. You're going to get a desaturated look from video compression. You're also going to get some artifacting.
The black levels are always like raised up a little bit for whatever reason.
It's all over the place. I mean, the truth is, if and when, I should say, we see this side by side, I think you will be surprised at how different the fidelity looks. And also it brings into question, what is the fidelity I'm even playing at? People in their mind's eye, and maybe where you're going, are still like, oh man, it's going to be like a 2080 Ti highest end graphics card.
No, anything that's coming over an internet connection is always going to be less than something that's native on a disk,
Right.
or even that's downloaded as a piece of
and that's
software on your system. Yeah,
that's what's being sent back to you, so it's degraded coming back to you. But my point is, in the cloud, I don't know if we got hardware specs yet.
No,
did we?
I think in the cloud, they kept on sort of, showing off and saying that you are going to be playing these games at the highest settings possible in 4K.
Did they say highest settings possible?
I mean, that's all
On
the vibes
Stadia,
that I got.
whatever
Like,
that means,
They kept
like-
on
But is it a 980? Is it a 1080? Is it 2080? You see what I'm getting at? Like,
Well, they said
what's
that
the
it's-
I think it's
graphics
going
card
to be a game that
quality?
you could play at. I think it's like the equivalent of playing a PC game on high settings.
At launch, Google Stadia will use a custom 2.5 gigahertz hyper-threaded x86 CPU with AVX2 SIMD, a custom AMD GPU capable of 10.7 teraflops, 16 gigabytes of RAM with up to 484 gigabytes per second transfer speeds.
I'd have to look at that bandwidth and compare it to like the cards out there. That's
Just
good
admit
that
you don't know what a PC is.
This really only matters for a small subset of gamers, to be frank. The people that are very into their TV settings and
No, it's way I actually am. No, it's a
people
huge
that-
difference. Is
No.
where I was going with this.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying though. Is that like I think though that the people who are going to be bought into Stadia at launch are not those people. Those people are going to continue to play on their PC where they have been playing.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes,
I agree with that.
But I'm just so two things. One, we need to see 4K because if you can do 4K HDR or whatever in your home, that was like
That's the founder stuff, right?
35,
35 megabits per second
35
minimum,
megabits.
right?
So I'm curious to see how that encoding looks, and maybe if you can even play 1080p in that. But like I said, I'm the video guy. I'm not being even overly critical. There's a big difference in the.
Oh, I am. I've been the most critical. So
Yeah, but
it's okay, Fran. You can
I know,
join
but
me.
my point is, when I say yes, I nitpick over video fidelity. Yes, I do. But it's also a huge difference from just playing, say, your Switch at 720p. You will get a very degraded. Okay, very is an exaggeration. I've only played one game, but I noticed is the point. That is my biggest concern if you're going in to buy Stadia. I'll put it in two categories. I have buyer be excited and buyer beware. The buyer be excited is what Greg talked about. Like, wow, it works. Oh my God, suddenly I can probably just play this in like a decent hotel. Like, we'll see where that goes and have the convenience to like play wherever you want. And it's stuff like Division, to just be able to pop that open without bringing your PS4 with you. I mean, that's amazing. Or for me on the road, I'm super excited to have a copy of Destiny 2 Shadowkeep and be like, I can just log on and play a strike and not, like, I don't have to bring it with. It's amazing. The buyer beware side is, I think you'll be surprised with the fidelity at 1080p currently. We'll see if that improves over time. And I want to see where 4K goes.
I think those are the same. I don't think you can. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think you're both. I'm both. Where I'm super excited, and then as I keep saying here, it's probably not going to be that way. Like I'm
At least
aware of
not
what
at
I've
launch.
seen. Exactly.
I think they'll get there.
Yeah, I
right?
hope so, right?
But I think like when this thing goes live, it's gonna have a ton of problems.
Sure. Fran,
Yeah.
what did you think of the controller? We're taking the pin out of it.
Yeah. So actually, I was really impressed with the controller. It felt natural. It didn't. At any point, didn't really stand out to me. It was funny. The Doom controls were kind of like I had to claw grip a few times, but I'm pretty used to it at this point.
Mouse and keyboard.
The controller felt totally fine to me. It felt inspired by both the Xbox and PlayStation.
What I was surprised about when I played it is
Smooth.
I liked it a lot. I'm a big fan. When I picked it up, it felt super light.
Yeah.
Almost to 6 access
Maybe
level.
too light?
Where I was like, oh, wait a second. And then when I started playing with it in the rumble, and I was like, oh, okay, it's fine.
Yeah,
It's
it went
not
away.
a-
I didn't think about it, right?
yeah, exactly.
Can you though use your Xbox One or DualShock
Yeah.
4
Yes, I
controller
believe so.
now?
Yes.
So why even bother?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that-
Well, with
exactly.
your Founders Pack, right? It comes regardless. I got one
Okay.
coming.
Exactly. So no, the
But
controller's
also
solid.
the Stadia controller has like those special sort of Google
Share
buttons or whatever.
and
Yeah.
things like that. The
couple.
Google,
Exactly.
the Google connected
Yeah,
thing.
You'll never use that stuff, but the controller was good. In other words, like if you don't have to buy it, I wouldn't, because if you already have an Xbox, controller or whatever, then you're fine. But if you are getting it, you shouldn't be concerned. And I think that's the good news. But my last thing I was just going to say on it was when I looked at Moonlight, again, assuming I could play it wherever I want, that's the type of game that I think you're not going to have to worry about fidelity.
Oh,
as
no,
much.
yeah, no
Stuff
way.
with a lower frame, because this was running at 60 frames, and like that's another thing. Like I haven't played a game at 30 frames a second on this, and so the encoding is going to be twice as good. And like maybe 30 frame games are a really good sweet spot, and you're like, wow, like it looks pretty much as good as Switch, and we don't know that yet, but that's where I'm excited to see where that stuff goes. And
Yeah, I
think
can't
it
wait.
has high potential.
Yeah, I want to get my hands on it in the real world and see what it's all about.
Yeah.
Fran, Andrea, I need, of course, your Destiny expertise because I have a question from the Legend of Kanto, along with a couple other ones. But first, let's talk about our sponsor.
Before you get to that, Did you see that I added a game that I've been playing?
No.
That maybe you
I
guys
must have printed this after
talked
the fact.
about? Cadence of Hyrule. Have you guys talked about that yet?
awesome.
I think
I'd love to hear.
Tim Gettys was getting
I've
ready
been
to get
wanting to
into
play
it.
that as well.
Yeah, so I just wanted to chat about this quickly before we get into more Destiny talk,
Lay
because
it
I thought
on, yeah.
people would be interested.
Well, it's more of a question. Don't worry.
So the Cadence of Hyrule is a game that's built on Crypt of the Necrodancer with a Legend of Zelda skin on it. So essentially, it's the gameplay that you know from Crypt of the Necrodancer. If you played it, a roguelike top-down retro art style game where you move in a grid and you have to move to the beat. And all the enemies are synced to the rhythm of the music and their attacks are all beat based. So it's a really cool concept. And Cadence of Hyrule has you play either as Cadence, Link, or Zelda. And the idea again is it's top down. So very like classic Zelda, like Link to the Past, where you have like bombable walls and secrets to find and a lot of the classic Zelda items that you'll recognize if you're a longtime Zelda fan. The music in this game is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
it's like
I've
a
heard so.
nice electro/rock mixes of really classic Zelda music. And it's a lot of old sprites and characters that you'll recognize from early in the Legend of Zelda franchise. As somebody who is not a super fan of old Legend of Zelda and really only got into this franchise with Breath of the Wild, I didn't get my skirt blown up that much by it, but Brittany Brombacher is in love with this game. I thought that I would be more into it
I
because
was going to say, what games doesn't Brittany love?
well, there's actually quite a few. She never
loves Zelda.
played Horizon Zero Dawn like
She's
a monster.
an idiot.
So I thought because it's a rhythm-based game, I love music and rhythm games. Rhythm genre games are right in my wheelhouse, so I absolutely needed to try this. And the music is fantastic, but I was just really struggling with getting a rhythm to the beats.
Dude, that's why I started Crypt of the Necrodancer. And I was like,
Yeah.
it looked awesome, great. I got in there and I'm like, I'm
tough.
so rhythmically challenged that I just don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I had to stop.
So thankfully, the developers of this game put in a mode where you can turn off the beat matching for your character movement, but
Oh.
the enemies attacks are still beat based, and so you still need to be aware of the music. They have like a little metronome style thing at the bottom of the screen so you can visually see
Okay.
it as well, and you do a calibration before you begin to see like where your visual and
TV
audio
is,
system is set up.
I would love to see Kevin try this. He's the most rhythmically challenged human being in the world.
This is a game built to destroy him.
Yeah, so essentially, like you move using the D-pad, and somebody in the Reddit for this game actually recommended mapping the buttons for movement to the buttons
Sure.
instead of the D-pad.
Tap,
so
tap,
you're tapping like up, left, down, right to
like
the
that.
beat.
Yeah.
So it's easier because I started off using the sticks because I tried it on my Pro controller, and the game was like, "Hey, we see you're using the left thumbstick. You probably shouldn't do
Yeah.
that. You're going to
Use
find
the
it really
D-pad."
difficult to move." But the enemies are really unique in the sense that they all are beat based, and so they have certain tells for about when they're going to attack. Like this one enemy will raise its arms before it attacks. One like squints. One does this like raises its weapon.
And you're dodging on beat.
You're dodging on beat, you're attacking on beat. Everything is beat based. And each different tile that you're in, as you know, Legend of Zelda style, you're moving through and you see these different tiles of the map open. The music will change depending on what enemies are around. And if you clear all the enemies from a tile, the music slows down. You can move around freely. But you can also, like I said, just turn that movement beat matching off altogether and move around freely. But again, the enemies are still going to move. And the enemies only move when you move. And so it really is this choreographed dance of sorts to be able to attack and clear the enemies. They have dungeons in the game, which is kind of neat. They're obviously much smaller than your traditional Zelda dungeons are. But I wanted to bring it up because I thought it was a really neat style. And more importantly, I think it's a fantastic example of Nintendo working with an independent developer to take one of their most well-known and beloved franchises and really
Do something new and inventive, yeah.
trusting the team to do something really inventive with it. And so if you liked Crypt of the Necrodancer at all, or if you are interested in like classic Zelda top-down exploration gameplay with this really cool beat mechanic, definitely worth checking out Cadence of Hyrule.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
Good job, Andrew. Yeah. Sorry I missed it on the notes.
That's all right.
So like I said, I got a Destiny question for you guys. You guys ready for it?
Yes, ready.
There's other questions too, so don't turn it off if you hate Destiny. Legend of Kanto writes in to patreon.com/kindafunnygames and says, my question today pertains to Destiny 2, more specifically its evolution now that Bungie is independent from Activision. As more hardcore Destiny players, Fran and Andrea, where would you like to see the franchise focus? Would you guys prefer more focus in the story, endgame, PvP, customization, etc.? Also, would love to know, as more peripheral fans that Andy and Greg are, what their viewpoints are on the matter. And if at this point there's anything they could do to get you guys back in. You guys were talking earlier, right? You're doing something.
Us back in?
No, me and Andy to get us back in because we haven't played. What you guys want going on. But then even right now, you were just talking about something today.
Yeah, I was playing the heroic version.
The Menagerie and the
Menagerie. Yeah.
What the hell's that?
Menagerie is their 6-person matchmade activity, so
Okay.
it's other than the raid. There's in PvP, there's no 6-person activities. You can just hop in and shoot stuff and like have a ton of fun. And they did
That
this,
are PVE based.
yeah, PvE.
That's the
gotcha,
key.
Again, not
gotcha.
PvP.
It's just you gotta
fucking
know, Greg.
banana outfit.
I'm like, I know it's hard for me to see.
hard to take you
Andrew's like,
seriously.
yes, here's a very serious point on my top.
My banana hat is falling off. But yeah, because 6-player matchmaking is currently available in the Crucible. So
Exactly. So non-PvP, it's one of the things. You just go and shoot stuff with a bunch of other people. It's super chaotic, and it's actually a lot of fun. Plus, you can grind out your weapons. But they released a heroic mode of it, which you do have to find people to go in because it's so difficult. They don't want you to be
because they're
pissed off.
essentially bringing in raid puzzle-like mechanics into the Menagerie, but in a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
So that you can do it in a much shorter time frame. Because as Greg knows, sometimes raids take a
Yeah,
very,
they take
very long
hours
time.
and hours. But it's a very short review of Heroic Menagerie. It was definitely difficult, but I was blessed to play with a very good team that I played with the Destiny Community podcast team, and they're really good. So we blew through it the first time, and actually I felt like 75% of it, the way that it works, was almost felt similar because we were.
But you guys are also all max light level.
Very powerful. Yeah, it's for reference point, by the way, you are capped at 750 power right now, but as you go towards the end of this mode, it's 770, and that 20 light scale, it hits you like a truck, so you got to be super careful, which is a lot what they do with the raids on day one. Anyway, it was a lot of fun, but the last boss, they make it such a bullet sponge. That's how they turned it into the heroic activity. And frankly, the rewards that you can get like a sword from it. You also get a catalyst out of doing it, and something else I'm forgetting. It's called masterworking your weapons. You can masterwork your drop that you get once a week. However, it's not curated. I know I'm getting in the weeds, guys, but like what you want is an awesome, perfect roll, right? But you're not guaranteed that. It's just it might drop as a masterwork, which really you can spend money on anyway, and it's not a big deal.
Sure. Since they changed the masterwork system, and I have yet to have anything drop masterworked already.
Yeah.
I have not bothered masterworking anything.
Yeah, well,
it's
because
way
the
too
enhancement core
expensive.
economies.
You're constantly getting new gear. The refresh of gear just is constant, and so like, why spend the resources to masterwork an item, and then you have to constantly infuse it, and then that costs even more money.
It's an economy problem. I have a huge problem with it, which is a different rant.
But to answer the question,
back to Legend of Kanto.
I was just going to throw it back to her, actually. Yeah.
I think what I personally would love from Destiny is more story-based content. We've got the grinding, we've got the PvE, we've got the PvP, we've got raids and endgame content. What we still are lacking is really meaningful narrative-based missions that are story-based that really enhance the world of Destiny that are in the game. So I'm not having to chase a piece of lore here, a piece of lore here, a piece of lore here, and then having to piece it together in menus.
Sure.
It's being played out in cutscenes or with voiceover from these characters that we've come to love over the many years of Destiny. I really crave that experience, and that's why I really enjoy doing the heroic story missions every week, because it brings me back to something that I think Bungie does really well, which is make these really fantastic story missions that have meaningful bits of lore, but they just always felt so disjointed and not really connected. Like, it's never had like a true campaign, right? Like, even when Forsaken launched and everything was going down with like Kate or whatever, it's just like, it still is like, okay, you got to go here and then back to the tower, and then you got to go here and you got to go talk to this
I see what
vendor.
you're saying.
It doesn't feel like you're setting up and then you can like sit down and play the story for like 3 or 4 hours at a time.
Yeah.
It's like you're playing it for like 20 minutes at a time instead.
I mean, that's what Anthem suffered from. I think that's really hard to pull off, but I know what you mean. Like, it would be great to get. I would say they
Even
could
if
just.
it was like a standalone expansion set in the universe of Destiny, like,
Well,
we're
that'd be
gonna
cool.
we're gonna make
See,
a
that
first
I'd be down for.
we're gonna make a first person shooter standalone expansion in the world of Destiny that doesn't have any of this other open world stuff in it, that just is like a short experience, like a Lost
spin-off.
Legacy kind of a thing. where you don't have to worry about going to the tower and picking up bounties and all the bullshit that we love to do in Destiny, I would think that would be fantastic.
That'd be really cool.
But
That'd be awesome.
it's a very different topic. But definitely
That would
if you
get me
want
back
the
in
story,
to answer his
Right?
question.
And to be able to play it co-op, a single player experience that if
Sure.
you wanted to, you could play it with the fire team.
And that's the thing for Kanto's question, like what would get me back in? I can't speak for Andy, but like when Luke and the team did the stream, right? That was like, hey, here's our coming out party. We're independent. Here's where Destiny's going and all this stuff. I was so impressed with them and the way they handled it and what they were talking about and the expansions and the cross save and all that jazz. And I'm like, I tweeted, right? Of like, am I about to play Destiny again?
Yeah.
Like, that sounds like fun. And the way they were talking about the new stuff that you'll be able to jump on and go, that seems like a great time. And you guys can play with me and I don't feel like I'm holding you back, but you can bring me forward. The problem I have with Destiny having, lapsed since what I platinumed it December right after it launched.
Probably, yeah.
So
2017.
almost 2 years ago. Like, I just don't even know what the hell's going on. Like to turn that back, it's like DC Universe Online. When I turn it back on, I'm like, I have no idea what I should be doing.
Right. So
No, go ahead.
that's what they're trying to fix with Shadowkeep, like you said.
Yeah.
We don't know the exacts, but we know a lot. And it does sound like you can hop in, you can skip a bunch of this story stuff or go back and play it as long as you purchased it. But that is definitely one of the gaps. Like if you go in now, it's like, wait, what do I have to play? Okay, I got to go here. And what do I have to buy to get this thing? And it takes a lot of research or just asking your friends. And I think if they can effectively remove that barrier, you might be in, right? Because ideally what happens is you come back to Destiny, you buy Shadowkeep in addition to the free version. Maybe you didn't play this other stuff and you didn't buy it. But you're like, I just got Shadowkeep, fine. So then you're all in on that and you can just start getting into the story and also your light level will be appropriate and they've got a fix for that too.
Because they'll auto level you,
Yep.
yeah.
Seemingly, they got these power surge systems as part of the quest where it just bumps you up. But the problem is right now to do those, you actually have to still play the story content from before. Like I just ran into it with my third character on my Titan who's not totally leveled and I went to grab thinking my power surge bounty and I logged on and then I was like, wait, where are my drops? Because what happens is you do it on one character and it drops the gear for you on all
account-based
characters.
stuff, yeah.
So I was looking, I was like, what is going on? And then I was looking, I was like, oh, I didn't play Forsaken on this character yet. But I literally would have to spend 4 to 6 hours doing that just to play the character in the character. So that's the type of stuff that I think if they can fix, they're going to fix it for you guys so you can just hop in.
Andy, what would bring you back? Anything?
I plan on coming back for Shadowkeep. Only because whenever there's I feel like I always come back to Destiny whenever there's sort of this big refresh where, Destiny 1 came out. I was all in on Destiny 1. I play the shit out of it, even though it was really, really grindy. I think I play a lot of Destiny, when it comes out, and then when Destiny 2 comes out, and then when Forsaken comes out. But then I'm still not able to tell when Destiny is bad or good. You know what I mean? I always enjoyed it while I'm playing it, but then there's always I hear from the community that it's fucked up right now. And to me, it's just I'm just playing it. I guess
If you're having fun, it's never bad, Andy.
Exactly. That's So I feel like I come back to Destiny whenever there's a giant sort of refresh when they're kind of saying, all right, guys. You could start here. This is a great time to jump back into Destiny. Whenever that big refresh happens, that's when I feel like I am a lot more I don't know, a lot more willing to jump back in.
Yep. Yeah, and I know we're short on time, so to answer the question, one was, I agree with Andrea, they could do better with the story. Everybody wants that, knows that we want more cinematics, absolutely. But the biggest stuff for me, they've been doing a little bit of, which is dropping content, like we saw with Forsaken, but they dropped just amazing new strikes and story-based content, worlds to play in, basically. And then they had these things called Ascendant Challenges. They were a way to it was the black and white world, so to speak, where you hopped in and did these challenges that weren't just gunning down people. They had puzzle elements to them, so they added that to the game. Like I said, they added the 6-person activity. They now have these layers to play with that they're getting pretty good with, I'd say, as well as you want new weapon drops and all this other stuff and a new story to play. But they just need to keep on that path and have enough of it, because when you're a ravenous Destiny player, it's never enough. You burn through the first part, and then what happens is you sink to the grind. That's, Andy, where everybody starts complaining about all these little things that bother them. And some people are like, wait, I just played for 15 hours.
It also just seemed like I never played when the off expansions were going on, when I know that the
Curse of Osiris, was
all
a
that stuff, a lot of those expansions I wasn't playing at the time, so
Right.
I feel like I never experienced Destiny at its worst. I don't want to say worst, but
Curse of Osiris is pretty much Destiny 2 at its worst.
at the time that a lot of the hardcore of the hardcore were this is not very good. I was never in at those moments, so I can never really,
Yeah.
be a judge of that.
Well, if it's any consolation, it's the best it's been so far
It
right
really is.
now. And it won Best Ongoing Game at the GCAs, which I was really impressed with.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Shadowkeep. If it has as much content as Forsaken, the raid was amazing. Forsaken, all the stuff is amazing. So they just need to take some of these layers they already have. And to finish the point I was going to say, I would like to see a little more like a strike every quarter, a new one, and a new PvP map has been a big issue. And then also bring back Trials of Osiris. It's a super highly competitive 3v3 mode. Well, they turned it to 4v4, and it just got all broken. But if they can add all that back in, but give you a little more content quarterly, they're still doing pretty good. But they've had some hit or miss with this last year, but they're on a really good track.
I want to retract my statement. I didn't play a whole lot of Forsaken. I'm just remembering that now. Like
Maybe you played Destiny too much.
Bastard.
I played enough to play the Gambit.
Yeah.
So was Gambit
That
in
was just
Forsaken?
recently. Yeah, that was part of the season.
No, you're thinking
pass.
about Gambit Prime, Fran.
He's just talking about regular Gambit from
Regular old
Forsaken,
Gambit,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, regular old Gambit was.
So you did play that.
Yeah, so I played a decent amount of Forsaken, but
Last
not as much
September.
as just straight up 2. When Destiny 2 came out or Destiny 1 came out, that's
You
where
played
I
a bunch.
sunk
then.
in a lot of hours.
Yeah, it has changed so dramatically. So it is in a really good spot, and I'm excited about Shadowkeep.
You're almost there, Andrea. The show's almost over.
Her
You take
hat
off your
keeps
banana.
falling off.
You guys,
You're
I'm
missing it.
so sweaty underneath this banana suit. I
The
can't even
final
tell you.
question is from JDob84 and requires you all to clear your mind.
Sub Dob.
Everyone will get one pick. We will start with Andrea, end with me, and then end this Gamescast. JDob84 says, video game Mount Rushmore. With a greater emphasis these days on elevating gaming personalities such as creators, producers, studio heads, etc., it makes me wonder who you would put on video game Mount Rushmore. Then he does a whole bunch of things that I'm not going to put in your head.
Can we answer this next week?
Yeah, oh my God.
Nice. Clear your head.
Seriously?
Clear your head. Andrea, you're the first one. Slam dunk. Give me a slam of jam. Who would you put on the...
Mount Rushmore of video games?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
This is so hard.
This is so hard.
It's a clear your mind exercise. Just shout it out. What are you saying?
I mean, there's one like off.
But you are chiseling faces into
You
the
put
side of a
your mics
mountain.
away from you.
Oh, sorry. I think Miyamoto-san has to go
Nailed
on
it.
there for
Nailed
sure.
it. There you go.
Like
Yeah,
he's the
that's
first person that came to
obviously,
mind.
obviously.
we each only picking one?
developers.
Yeah. We're just putting a face on the
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, okay, good. So
I
I
thought we
got
had
the
to do
first
all
That's what I'm
four
pick.
as
saying.
well.
We each do one.
okay,
We each
okay,
do
good.
one.
I
I thought we
Put
had to
it
do
up
all
there.
four.
Okay.
I'm so not ready at all. Miyamoto was the easy one. Man,
Sure.
you lucked
Sure.
out.
Fair.
I'll go second, Kojima.
Okay.
There you go. Another easy
Definitely
one.
that's a
Easy
good
one.
easy
Yeah.
Don't pick another Japanese male for the
Yeah,
love of God.
I know, right? Give me a second.
You want me to
Thinking
help
of like
you?
all these like super iconic games.
I know it's a
and, like,
big deal. I mean,
It
there's
is a big deal. You're asking me to like
yeah.
design it, and I know that it's kind of
If
just a
you
joke for this
want
episode.
it all, J Dob, he leaned way more.
That's one.
He leaned more modern. But I don't agree with the modern because we're not putting.
Ken Levine?
No, what? Well, you could. Yeah.
I
give
mean,
me-
Ken is a genius. I don't think he belongs on the Mount Rushmore.
That's rude to him.
I can't. I literally can't do it.
I'm
Because I
on-
would have put
I'm on
Miyamoto
your
on
level,
there.
Andrea.
Only
Kojima,
like
I can agree.
I don't
with
know why I
probably.
immediately think of just like Koji Kondo, just because his music was
Yeah, like
just such a.
That's a
huge
good one too,
staple.
yeah.
I can't. I literally can't. Like,
You're just not gonna play the game.
Because
The only
here's
way
why.
one's not
Here's
fun.
why. No matter what you say and what we end
Right.
up with, Greg, we will be like judged by these
People
choices.
understand it's a clear your mind activity that we're throwing out. It's not-
they're clearing their
it's not
minds
like
too,
we just,
Fran.
first off, that you
We have like
talked about
20
Destiny for
seconds.
15
Why don't you
minutes. They
pick
turned the
mine
podcast off.
Oh, I didn't say that. I think Bonnie would be an amazing.
Nobody's
Like
watching.
there's so many other people.
Nobody's watching anymore.
I'm sure it's yelling
Got
at
it.
me.
You're just gonna have to go. You got to pick two.
I was gonna put, and
do
I
it.
can never say it, but
It's too much
Alexei, the
responsibility.
guy who made Tetris.
Yes.
Alexei
Pajitnov.
Pajitnov. Thank you
think I
very
don't know
much.
how to
That's
pronounce it,
right. Yeah, I
but-
can't
Yeah.
pronounce right. But again, like that's one game, but it's a pretty
Alexei.
awesome
For
game that
Tetris.
went on forever and
He,
changed the world.
he absolutely deserves to
But
be
he's
on
not-
it.
There's so many.
So J-Dob went on to say Miyamoto and Kojima both seem like no-brainers, but who else would you put on those? There's some great personalities such as Phil Spencer, Corey Barlog, Jade Raymond, etc. But just wondering which 5 people you would elevate to this fictional monument. I think it goes on well beyond that, right?
Yeah, I was looking back-
You
Yeah,
can
of
make
course.
cases for so many people, like Nolan Bushnell.
That's what I was gonna say. I was looking back farther, like
Right.
Bushnell and like all this stuff of past. and I was
Awada,
like,
right? Like I mean, like the list
Oh,
goes on
sure,
and
yeah.
stuff. Then and then yeah, when do you want to bring in a more modern person?
if
Like,
what I'd love
Like an
to
Amy
do.
Hennig. or
yeah,
whatever,
you bring up
yeah.
Bonnie,
Yes.
right? Kiki Wolfkill,
Bonnie.
right?
But Bonnie's
Yeah.
been making games for over 20
Yeah,
years.
Bonnie's been yeah, exactly. She
She's
was just
timeless
inducted
though, you know?
in for
yeah,
Dice, right?
for the Dice Hall of Fame.
Absolutely amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, This has been Kind of Funny Gamescast number 227. Rest in peace, Tim Gettys, wherever they dumped your body. If you like this show, remember patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. You can get it early, ad-free, watch us record it live, watch us do pre and post shows. We're about to do a post show, everybody, don't forget. Of course, you can check me out on Kind of Funny, Andy out on Gary Witta, Fran out on FM3_, Andrea on What's Good Games all over the interwebs. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.
Peanut butter jelly.
Man, I thought you were going to say I love you. And what I was going to ask Bear to do, I wanted Bear to put us all in different areas of the stereo spectrum. Like, I wanted us to be like in surround
That'd
sound.
be a lot of work.
Like,
I guarantee Barry could
Greg
do that on
be
the fly.
far
Not that he's not
left,
talented. I'm just saying.
Andrea far right,
Yeah,
and
I
me
don't
and
know how to do
Fran
that
are kind of in the middle, and it's just go like, I love you at different times.
yeah,
so
yeah.
people listening with headphones just kind of
It's
do
like
that all
a
over.
sinuous sacrifice where it's like going over across your.
Oh, that's easy.
Well, chat's up. Don't forget, chat, that we have a Patreon Q&A in 4 minutes now.
God.
So
it
you're already
never
watching
ends.
live. You can click over that. If you're watching
Yeah.
later, you can click over then too.
Yasmin, Shinji Mikami is a great pick as well.
Mizuguchi would have been a good one. Gabe Newell, that's a good one there.
Blazinski, that guy.
Clown. Maybe if I'm doing Mount Rushmore at yacht parties.
Gabe Newell, maybe.
Yeah.
Reggie, no.
Yeah.
Shu, I thought I
Reggie's
was
just
just
my
my
guy, but he does not belong on video game Mount Rushmore. Mount Rushmore.
Well, you want a good mix too, because you want to like, what does it all stand for? Because there's so many good game creators, but then there's like,
Do you pick one
Mark
person?
Cerny's a good pick.
Someone who
Jeff
invented.
Keighley says Richard. That's right.
Mark Cerny just for Knack alone, you know?
Just for Knack alone. Not even the architect of the PS1.
There's so many good choices, but it does have to stand for gaming as a whole, and that's what I was getting tripped.
I
up
know,
on.
I know.
Like a bunch of game directors is one thing, but what about Nolan Bushnell who helped push us towards consoles and computers and stuff like that, and all kinds.
What about Neil
Carmack,
Druckmann, who's
amazing.
Carmack,
All those people passed through my mind. Trust me, I couldn't put.
But instead of saying any of them, you said
I'm
none
a
of them,
coward.
insulting them all.
I just ran to
no,
Kojima immediately.
I feel like I did the thing where you can't insult anyone because you didn't say anything.
Stand for something or fall for everything. For
Hey,
anybody.
I have strong opinions.
Yeah, Greg.
But
Yeah, that's
that
right.
was
You know what I
like-
mean?
You know, it's on the internet forever now.
On the internet forever.
I love you
Forever.
guys.
Until Kind of Funny gets bought by somebody and they erase all the
Joey.
videos like
Erase
Defy.
Joey.
like Defy.
That's a good call.
That's a fun Gamescast. Thanks
This
for
is
joining
pretty
us,
good.
Andy.
Which one was this?
Yeah,
I've been
that
telling
was
Tim for a long time he should quit and you should replace him.
Barefoot or
So I'm
something?
glad
I mean, we're halfway there.
Recommending him to quit.
He's already out the door.
You know what? They make the shows a lot better, Tim. You quit.
All right, I'm taking this banana suit off.
It's understandable.
Yeah, do it.
Thank you for wearing it. Thank you for saving the big, beautiful kids.
Let's see.
I'm going to peel the banana, everybody.
I thought you said you were gonna
Really
pee
thought
on
it
the
really
banana for a
sounded like
second.
you're gonna pee. I'm gonna pee on
That's
the
what I
banana.
thought you said.
But she didn't.
You
She
know,
didn't say that.
I always tell people this, Greg.
Get out of here, banana.
I don't look good in hats, right?
It's pretty hot.
I just
I'm
don't
like
know.
Fran,
You don't
you're
look what?
rocking.
I look
this
silly
Sweaty.
in hats.
Well, it's,
sweaty.
not, it's a silly hat.
I got like the boob
That was
sweat
the joke.
happening.
I feel like
Nobody
you
likes
ruined it.
boob sweat.
You're telling me, sister.
You look like you're wearing a dunce cap right now.
Yeah, it looks like a dunce cap.
But I
doesn't
like
it?
how this banana suit, unlike some of the other ones, has like the actual like
I have lice, by
brown.
the way.
That has. I'm not afraid. Has the brownie marks
Sure.
like an actual banana would have.
Like an organic banana, Joey.
Yeah. Yeah, Joey.
Yeah, Joey.
Joey, who's
Some-
against browning bananas?
I mean, see, this banana has got little brown marks on it.
Yeah, that means
Joey
it's ripe. It's good.
notoriously against
Did she bring in, like-
bananas that age.
Did you know
Well, they
that
get bruisey really easy.
the sticker on a banana or sticker on any fruit is edible?
The sticker.
You
No,
can
it's
eat it
not.
and not get
You're
sick or
so
die.
full of-
I'm
don't
not
do it.
doing it. No, but it's there
Prove
because
it.
Oh, it's non-toxic. That doesn't mean it's edible. It just means you're not gonna be able to eat it. It's gonna like you're just not gonna kill you.
He
dummy.
literally ate it. Andy ate the sticker.
Don't do it. Andy, no.
It's too late. He's chewing it right now.
I'm just saying they put, I read on the internet.
cheese.
You never just chew paper sometimes?
No, Kevin. No.
Yeah, when I
No.
was like,
Don't chance it.
9.
Don't.
You know
no.
what I would always do? Oh my god.
Did you eat the cupcake wrapper?
No, oh my god, the
I've done
the
that.
colored
done that
folders,
too.
the colored kind of like weirdly
like, don't leave me
textured
hanging.
folders.
Yeah.
Yeah, in like elementary.
Yeah.
I would.
Oh, you tear off the corners and eat them?
I would just eat that folder. Dude.
what is going on
You're
with
fucking
you?
weird.
Like I never swallowed it, but I would just chew.
lemon rind?
I eat lemon rind. Love
Oh yeah,
lemon rind.
I don't mind that.
Love lemon rind.
I eat my peanut shells.
I actually used to work
Love
with a
it.
girl who would
you guys eat whole
lemon wedges.
Saying I do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in Italian. No, it's not because my grandpa, my mom.
And she was Venezuelan. And then I tried to make it a Venezuelan thing, and she's like, "Nah, I just like."
I'll tell you.
Lemon.
No, I
peels."
just pour salt on like the opening of it, and I just take a fucking chunk out of it, dude.
It's got to be good for you, right?
Weird.
The lemon rind
be
is
very good for
very,
you.
very healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, the rinds of all fruits
Got
are
all
very
that
healthy.
the essential
But eating
oils.
lemons by themselves, I'm sure just destroys the enamel on your teeth.
Yeah, you do have to be careful. You can't.
Oh, my
So you
mom.
just-
Oh, my mom hated it. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, you just gotta like clean
My
your
mom was
teeth
like,
immediately
I
afterwards.
spent a fuckload of money on your braces, and all this acid you're putting in your mouth. I'm eating twang and salimon and lucas.
Your folders.
And all these like
Your
Mexican,
binder keeper. Everything's on the table with Andy. Yeah.
Baby's dream
So nobody else
birthday
eats whole
dinner is
peanuts?
like a trapper keeper.
Ladies and
peanuts
gentlemen,
with
we
the shell?
have to go to the Patreon
really good.
Q&A.
That's where all
You're
the
already
salt's
watching on
at.
Patreon, so you can watch that. What is wrong, Barrett? You just
dirt.
sit there and push fucking buttons.
I've been in
No
here
kebabs,
since
it's
one.
not.
This is my 4th show of the day.
Yeah, shout out to Greg Miller.
Shout out.
We have to do around here. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to answer your questions on the Patreon Q&A that I assume Joey's playing. Until we start that stream, she's just shrugging, drinking wine. Until then, thank you for your support. We love and appreciate you.
Thank you, everyone.